I can't walk the dog. The dog's mad at me because she can't go for anywhere at this point.
Definitely it can make things a little bit more depressing. You just want to stay inside all day. You don't really want to do anything because it's so hot outside.
And on the polar opposite, northwestern Montana is actually expecting a winter storm in Glacier National Park this weekend. Up to a foot of snow is expected to fall there over the weekend. Updating Israel at war, European diplomats are meeting with Iranian officials in Geneva as the U.S. continues to weigh options in the conflict in the Middle East. President Trump says he'll make a decision within 2 weeks.
If they don't take the deal today, if they continue to sort of string along the United States, it's more likely then that by July 4th, the president's going to make a decision one way or the other that could involve potentially joining Israel in these military attacks.
Ed O'Keefe reports at least 23 people were injured in the latest Iranian attacks on Israel. You can check back often to 95.5 WSB. We'll keep you updated here on any major developments in that conflict. Georgia-based insurance giant Aflac is confirming it's the victim of a cyber attack.
It's possible that cyber criminals accessed Social Security numbers, insurance claims, and health information of customers, agents, and employees. The company says the investigation is in its early stages, and the attack was stopped within hours earlier this month. Aflac's offering free credit monitoring and identity theft protection to customers who contact their call center set up to deal with this incident. The company blames a sophisticated cybercrime group responsible for other attacks on the insurance industry. Jennifer Perry, 95.5 WSB.
Well, less than a month from now, the 988 Suicide Crisis Lifeline is set to remove a specific option to help LGBTQ youth. Officials say this is being done to help more people.
These youth, these children in crisis, in a worst case scenario, could do harm to themselves, including perhaps committing suicide. So there are very serious ramifications of this decision.
Jeff Graham, executive director of Georgia Equality, says there still will be dedicated help out there. It just won't be as easy to access as dialing 988. Singer Chris Brown enters a not guilty plea to an assault charge in the United Kingdom. That comes from an alleged bottle attack that happened at a London nightclub back in February 2023. He was arrested at a hotel in the UK last month and was released on bond a few days later. Since that time, he's continued with his international tour as he awaits trial that is set to start next October. New data shows it's a tough time to be a home flipper in Metro Atlanta.
New data shows 2/3 of metro areas, including Atlanta, saw smaller returns on their flips in the first quarter. That's according to a new report from Adam, which shows flipped single-family homes and condos only accounted for 8.3% of all home sales through March, the lowest number in a quarter since 2018. Experts say the competitive market's pushing home prices higher, which is great for short-term investors, but makes it harder to find cheaper properties to buy. I'm Bloomberg's Monica Ricks for 95.5 WSB.
A new documentary is putting the spotlight on the city of Doraville.
Co-director Carolyn Kemick says a friend who grew up with her in Doraville confessed his sentiment.
I just get moved by some story or some person, just our lives being brought up in that town. He said, Carolyn, I think we need to make a movie about Doraville.
From hunting on the grounds that became their school to a GM plant to a film studio, Kemick says the familiar is changing still.
What we love about it is possibly going to completely change in a way that we're not used to because it's pretty much been untouched until now.
Kemick calls Made in Doraville a love letter to the town. Lisa Nicholas, 95.5 WSB.
It is 12:04. Time now for live team coverage of traffic and weather. Andrew Seco is in the WSB 24-hour traffic center.
Travel advisory as you're heading south through the heart of Marietta. Got some trouble involving a Greyhound bus. Several right lanes blocked here. 75 southbound at the North Loop, exit 265 North Marietta Parkway. Already seeing those delays back towards 575. If you want to avoid the area, take Highway 41 to get around that. A little slow leaving Sandy Springs on the outer loop, 285 westbound. Seeing something slowing you down towards Roswell Road, exit number 25. Still some delays through Sewanee with that earlier trouble. 85 northbound right at 985, and that's exit number 113. And we're still looking at the road work in the right lane through the Ellenwood Woodcrest area up towards Gresham Park. 675 northbound, just a quick tap of the brakes as you approach 285. Andrew Seco, 95.5 WSB.
Mostly sunny, hot and dry today. We'll top out around 91 and even hotter in the days ahead. For Saturday, low 72, high 93 and mostly sunny. And we'll stay mostly sunny Sunday, low 75, high 93. Now my 5-day forecast for Monday and Tuesday, getting up into the mid-90s. 94 Monday and mostly sunny, heat index near 100. And then Tuesday, mostly sunny and 96. Heat index around 103. Recapping the forecast for today, mostly sunny and 91. I'm Channel 2 Action News Chief Meteorologist Brad Nitz, 95.5 WSB.
That's Atlanta Radio's only 5-day forecast, sponsored by Shoemate, the official air conditioning of Atlanta. Right now, it is 78 in Kennesaw, 80 in Norcross, and 81 in Midtown. More news at 12:30. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Austin Eller, 95.5 WSB.
Welcome, America. It's Eric Erickson here across the United States. I'm delighted to have you with me. The phone number is 877-973-7425. It's an open line Friday. We need to get to the news, though, and we need to start with words. If you text Eric, E-R-I-C-K, to 33777, you get the live stream, the show notes, and so much more. I mentioned yesterday a piece that was in the New York Times about the trans movement and how, well, it has badly just failed to read the room. And I sent out a piece this morning, and there are some excerpts of it, and I thought about it a little more, been digging into it more, and I need to make a larger point here. And I'll give you the larger point at the beginning, and then we'll circle back through it. The larger point is this. Conservatives, people on the right, Donald Trump, they have a latent advantage right now. So Patton and latent. Patton is obvious, it's in your face, you can't deny it. Latent is hidden, it's subsurface. We have a subsurface advantage in politics and culture right now. And it is that the United States cultural forces are all in one bubble together on the left. The press and left-wing activists, they're all the same thing these days. And it gives us a latent advantage because they've become so out of touch with people, so out of touch with your average ordinary American, that they discredit themselves more and more. So, undocumented immigrant or migrant. Most Americans use the phrase illegal immigrant, not just on the right, on the left as well. Most people use the phrase illegal alien, not undocumented immigrant. Black people, white people, Hispanic people, Asian people, they talk about them as illegal immigrants. They understand it's illegal to come here. It is a misdemeanor. A misdemeanor is a crime. Therefore, it is illegal for them to come here. And yet they come. Illegal immigrant. Gender-affirming care. Gender-affirming care is the big one in light of the Scarametti decision for the Supreme Court on Wednesday. The media uses gender-affirming care, and that is a talking point from the left. It's a talking point from the left. Reproductive rights, gender assigned at birth, health care for minors, don't say gay, the legislation in Florida. The media referred to it as the don't say gay legislation. That was a talking point for the left. And even majority of Democrats in Florida supported the legislation, but the media is in the hive mind bubble of the left. And so there's this echo chamber that circulates. So this gets to the New York Times piece by Nick Confessori. In private meetings of LGBTQ legal advocacy groups, many lawyers expressed a loss almost from the moment the court agreed to hear the case, expected a loss almost from the moment the court agreed to hear the case, according to one person briefed on the conversations. On the outside, I heard rising criticism of the strategic and political judgments animating the ACLU's litigation, muted by fear that voicing those criticisms more openly amid the depredations of Trump's second term would only give the right more ammunition. There are a lot of conversations happening right now, said Dana Beyer, a physician and longtime trans activist in Maryland. People know the movement is stuck. They know we've gone too far. They know we've lost the thread. Yes, you lost the very basic point. Let me explain this one to all of you. The ACLU has been hijacked by hyper woke progressives. They're no longer about free speech. They actually support regulating and censoring people. The ACLU used to be, back in the day, the organization that battled in support of every sort of free speech issue. Not anymore. Not when it comes to trans people. You call a man, but the man decides to identify as a woman, they come after you. You call what's Ellen Page? Oh my gosh, no. He's Elliot. No, she may have changed her name to Elliot, but she's a she. And this all comes down to Chase Strangio, who's been heralded by the American media that has advanced the trans issue. They've had Chase Strangio on. Chase Strangio is a woman who takes so many male hormones that she now grows facial hair and has cut her hair and changed her styling to look like she is a he, but you close your eyes and listen to her, and you know she actually is a she. And she took over the helm of legal strategy for the ACLU. And she is kind of nuts. Let me just play you part of this audio just so you understand who I'm talking about.
I want to bring in the lawyer who's going to argue this high-profile case before the U.S. Supreme Court, Chase Strangio. Chase, thanks so much for being here. Really appreciate it. So the case comes at a time when 26 states have passed laws restricting healthcare treatments for transgender youth, according to a CNN analysis of data from the nonprofit think tank Movement Advancement Project. So how do you plan to argue before the U.S. Supreme Court in a case that could have wide-ranging implications beyond the state of Tennessee?
Well, thank you for having me, Jake. And obviously, this is a critical inflection point for transgender people across the country. We're coming off of an election season where transgender people played an outside role in people's consciousness in terms of the way in which we were situated as a threat to others. And when we look at the map of states that ban this type of evidence-based healthcare, we went from 0 states that had these bans in 2020 to now more than half the country. So
Evidence-based. Notice in the Supreme Court decision in Scrimeti on Wednesday, they documented all the evidence to the contrary of the LGBTQ plus community and the arguments of Chase Strangio. Now listen to this. This is from the New York Times. In 2016, North Carolina passed legislation requiring people to use bathrooms and locker rooms reserved for their biological sex, setting off the country's first major clash over transgender rights. When a coalition of LGBTQ groups began planning an ad campaign, message testing showed that most people were unfamiliar with the movement's terminology and the physical realities of being trans. The phrase assigned male at birth left audiences confused and skeptical. To win them over, the coalition created ads featuring a trans woman with long hair and conventionally feminine clothing. In a spot that first aired on Fox News, the woman is barred from a restaurant bathroom by an angry manager who backs down after 2 other women, messaging validators the audience could relate to, intercede. I was born with a male body, the trans woman says in a voiceover, but inside I always knew I was female. More than 20 alphabet gang groups signed on to the messaging plan. The ACLU did not. Chase Strangio, working on a ACLU team suing North Carolina, objected to the framing. According to Putin, you got to listen to this. This is Strangio, the woman who argued before the Supreme Court, who looks like a man outwardly, sounds like a woman, biologically is a woman. You got to listen to this. According to 2 people present for the discussion, Strangio disputed that a trans woman could be born with a male body or born male. In her view, now the New York Times says his, but he is a she. In her view, a trans woman was born a woman just like any other woman. There was no such thing as a male body, Strangio told her colleagues. A male reproductive organ is not a male body part. It's just an unusual body part for a woman. Before the advertisement aired, Strangio elaborated on her critique in an article in Slate. Many advocates define the use of born male or born with a male body narrative as being easier for non-transgender people to understand, Strangio wrote. Of course, it is easier to understand since it reinforces deeply entrenched views about what makes a man and what makes a woman, but it is precisely these views that we must change. Though North Carolina lawmakers eventually repealed the bathroom bill, it was Strangio's style of politics that began to prevail within the movement. Activists on the left believe that achieving trans rights required a more fundamental social reimagining of sex and gender. There was less and less room for competing views. One person involved in the North Carolina campaign described increasingly tense conversations around the doctrine of self-ID and single-sex spaces. Some argued that women had no right to feel uncomfortable sharing a prison cell or a locker room with a trans woman. Such concerns only validated the trope that trans women were threatening. You got that? You got that? This is a key point here, that this nut job at the ACLU who thinks she's a he convinced the trans advocacy groups in America that you should stop using the phrase born in a male body, and instead you should argue that actually some women biologically are born with a male reproductive organ. You got that? Some men are born with female reproductive organs, uterus, birth canal, and all of that. And some women are born with testicles, penises, and all of that. And that's just the reality. And so you can't look at the reproductive organ and say this is male, this is female. You have to wait for the person's consciousness to arise and say, I am woman. And until that point, you don't know. That's the nuttiness that this movement has embraced. And the media went with it, gender-affirming care and all of it. Here's what happened. And this is why conservatives have a latent advantage in culture right now. The nuts are convinced they're sane, and no one can tell the nuts they're nuts without offending them, which costs the sane people their jobs, so no one says anything. It's like in communist societies, whistleblowers always get shot, so no one blows the whistle. The whole project ultimately collapses because the sane whistleblowers who realize there's a problem are too scared to say anything. And that's what's happened with the trans movement. Their inner Marxism has come out. They have to redefine words. They have to silence any dissent. That they can't have competing opinions. And the insane people have led the strategy. The sane people sit back and said, you're going to lose. I know liberal law professors who knew that the Supreme Court was going to reject the trans argument. It was that obvious to everyone. But this plays out across the board. Think about right now, and we'll get to this later, but progressives are demanding that ICE agents who are rounding up violent gangbangers from Venezuela, who have a pattern of targeting the families of law enforcement officers, that they have to uncover their faces. The left is fine with Antifa supporters and Hamas supporters covering their faces to commit anti-Semitic violence in the streets, but ICE agents can't, and the media is going with it. The politicians are going with it. The press is going with it. They're doxing ICE agents. The hive mind of the left has become increasingly insane, and the insane people are driving the policies, and more normal Americans are realizing this is all insane. And it gives you and me an advantage. As long as you're not crazy, as long as you're not nasty, you get an advantage. Because the left can't help but be crazy and nasty. You know, I said this morning that we should have sympathy for trans people. We should have sympathy. If you are so messed up in the head you think that you need to have a hysterectomy, have a physician create onto you a male reproductive organ, or have your male reproductive organ surgically removed and a female reproductive organ created, you clearly are going through something, and we should show you some sympathy. That doesn't mean embracing you. And what's so funny is that some people got mad at me for saying that and saying, I'm not going to accept it. I never said accept. Sympathy is not acceptance. Sympathy is understanding they're going through something wild. And then we should also note that they're being taken advantage of by malcontented social do-gooders who actually are not doing good but are doing a lot of harm. And those crazy malcontented do-gooders within the trans movement had just set that movement back tremendously. And the media was complicit in it because the media and the left-wing hive mind can't distinguish sane and crazy anymore. They've just gone full crazy. And that's something you and I can keep taking advantage of to advance our side.
Have something to say? Hello. Call the show. 1-877-97-ERIC. That's 1-877-973-7425.
1220 in the Cool Ray Carrier Traffic Center. Watching the brake lights fill through the heart of Marietta. Got this travel advisory. Crash with police activity in the right lane. 75 southbound approaching North Marietta Parkway. Exit 265. The back door taking you towards Chastain Road just outside Kennesaw. Exit 271. Avoid the area. Take Highway 41 as a quick fast track through here. Watching the cone zone through 675. Heading towards 285. We're blocking the right lane right there before you hit that exit towards the perimeter. And if you're on the inner loop, 285 westbound on the southeast side, keep your eyes peeled. Going to be dodging a stall. It's off to the shoulder, but the onlooker lanes are stretching you back towards Glenwood Road, exit number 44. This is sponsored by Ameris Bank, and Ameris Bank is a dedicated advocate for you and proudly by your side on your financial journey. Learn more at amerisbank.com. Ameris Bank, fiercely yours, member FDIC, equal housing lender. Andrew Seco, 95.5 WSB.
What would you do with $1,000 this summer?
Hotel, pool, week at the beach, cabin in the woods.
Whatever you want to do this summer,
WSB has $1,000 to make it happen.
$1,000 Thursdays gives you the chance to win $1,000 every hour between 9 a.m. and 4 p.m.
Listen for the keyword at 9, 10, and 11 a.m. and 12, 1, 2, and 3 p.m.
Enter the keyword at WSBradio.com or on the WSB app within that hour.
You could win $1,000. Get all the info at WSBradio.com.
$1,000 Thursdays begins next Thursday.
From 95.5 WSB, where Atlanta wins.
It's the Love Your Home Minute from TE Certified. Hi, it's Chris Chandler with Josh, the local owner of TE Certified Electrical, Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. You know Josh, that's him you see jumping out of the back of their trucks. Josh, you have helped us love our homes. What have you done in your own home to help you love it?
My tankless water heater with the recirculation pump. That is by far my most favorite item.
How come?
Well, we put it in when we first moved in, and I put it in because I had 2 tanked water heaters that were sitting there heating water all day long, even though I didn't need any hot water. And then, of course, when I went to take a shower, they would run out. So I put in my tankless water heater with recirculation pump. Now I get instant hot water right away, and I have as much as I want. What you save is space, and then, of course, you save on your power bill or gas bill moving forward. It's very satisfying when you put one in. We get phone calls, we get emails. This is amazing. This has changed my life. I actually have a hot shower, which is a very good thing to hear.
Tankless water heaters are a hot idea that can really help you love your home.
TE Certified, we love your home.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Why should you hire America's largest injury law firm for your case? There's lots of reasons. Just like there's a reason millions of people called us last year in their time of need. When it comes to fighting for justice and compensation, millions of people across the country trust us to go to battle for them. We became the largest injury law firm in the world for a reason. There's only one Morgan & Morgan, forthepeople.com. Injured? Dial pound law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Comcast Business is celebrating Small Business Month by giving you a $1,000 small business bonus when you switch to a qualifying gig speed package from the company with over 99.99% network reliability. Just imagine the thousands of possibilities of a $1,000 prepaid card. Like possibility number 1, company merch for staff. Styling. Or possibility number 24, the latest software. Upgrade. Or possibility number 192, new equipment powered by gig speeds. Or possibility number 555, a 3D printer. Rapid prototyping, anyone? Switch to Comcast Business for over 99.99% network reliability, advanced cybersecurity, and now get started with a $1,000 small business bonus. Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
In 6/22/25, new customers only with 2-year agreement. Other restrictions apply.
This is Scott Slade, updating my health story. I get a checkup every year, and last September, my primary care physician was troubled by a suspicious number on my lab work. Well, that led to a diagnosis early enough to give me options, and I'm more optimistic than ever about a good outcome. Now, when we're talking about our health, level with your providers. If you think you have a problem, we all need expert eyes looking us over every so often. That's where virtual imaging can be invaluable. Virtual Imaging's LDCT body scan can give you time and options for early treatment, especially for cancer. They can detect tumors as early as precancerous virtually anywhere in your body, and aneurysms you may not even know are there. For a limited time, Virtual Imaging is extending their core body scan offer for only $995 per scan. That's a $2,495 value. Early detection saves lives, and now it's more affordable than ever. Virtual Imaging has gotten such great response, they've opened up more times in both offices. But appointments will fill up fast for this offer, so don't wait. Some minimum requirements may apply. Early detection is your best protection. To schedule your Virtual Imaging $995 core body scan, call 770-678-SCAN. That's 770-678-SCAN. Or make an appointment by visiting their website at virtualimagingatl.com. That's virtualimagingatl.com. Do it now, while you still have options.
I have triggered members of the left on social media for pointing out how bad of a justice Ketanji Brown Jackson is, and by also pointing out that Joe Biden specifically said he was appointing Ketanji Brown Jackson not because she was competent, but because she was a black woman. She was definitionally an affirmative action pick, and you can be mad at me for pointing it out, but you should actually be mad at Joe Biden for going out of his way to say the whole reason she was picked was because she was a black female, not because she was competent. And she's not. In fact, Sonia Sotomayor is not exactly a bright, shining star of jurisprudence on the Supreme Court. And today, Ketanji Brown Jackson had a dissent in a case, and even Sonia Sotomayor could not bring herself to sign on. She had to write a completely separate dissent. No one wanted to make eye contact with Ketanji Brown Jackson's dissent. It was so bad. And this is what you get when you elevate affirmative action above other things. Ketanji Brown Jackson's legacy will be, whether you on the left like it or not, that Joe Biden himself, the president who nominated her, said he was elevating her because of her race and sex, not because of her competence. And it shows. He needed a token black woman on the Supreme Court. That's him. Don't blame me. That's Joe Biden. And that's what he got. And she's so bad at her job and so in over her head. Even Sonia Sotomayor was like, I can't sign on to your dissent. Wild to see. Today, the Supreme Court released a bunch of cases, and Elena Kagan actually was in the majority decision with Sonia Sotomayor and Ketanji Brown Jackson off by themselves in dissent. Say what you will about Kagan. She's smart. She's also a long-term operator, siding on these cases. But the two dimwits on the court from the left were like, no, can't do it. And even Sonia Sotomayor was like, yeah, I can't sign on to this Jackson dissent. That's a little bit too wild for me. That's saying something about Ketanji Brown Jackson. But if you're on the left, you like her because Joe Biden picked her, but he picked her not because of her competence, but because of her skin color and her gender, and he said so. Don't be mad at me for pointing it out. Now, let me tell you about the Eden Pure Thunderstorm, because you can get 3 of them. In fact, Charlie was telling me they're starting to show up in his YouTube reels and as the advertisements. Well, they should. You should take advantage of it. You get 3 of them. You can save $200. Go to EdenPureDeals.com. EdenPureDeals.com. The discount code is ERIC3, ERICK3. They're air purifiers, and they're filterless. So they get rid of pollen and dust and pet dander. They kill 99.9% of bacteria and viruses, and then they wipe out every odor. No odor can stand up to it, and that's actually how I use them. They're great odor eliminators. In a hotel room, in a rental car, you can plug it up with a USB cord into a USB outlet like on your laptop, or directly into the wall with a plug. It just works, and it wipes out odors, bacteria, viruses. Get 3 of them. Upstairs, downstairs, your basement, your travel bag, your RV. You can hold them in your hand. They're highly portable. EdenPureDeals.com is the website. The discount code is ERIC3, ERICK3 at EdenPureDeals.com.
If you have the WSB radio app, all the notifications you need.
If you have the WSB app,
All the local and breaking news alerts you need.
Breaking news in Cobb County.
All in one place.
We'll send out an alert on the WSB app.
The 95.5 WSB app.
Download it from your app store today. Live from the Superior Plumbing Studios.
News,
weather,
traffic.
95.5 WSB.
Atlanta's News and Talk.
It's 12:30. I'm Austin Eller. This news brought to you by Jim Ellis Automotive. Our top local story: 2 Metro Atlanta parents are awarded more than $2 million in damages from a doctor who performed the autopsy on their child who was decapitated during a botched delivery. Attorneys for Jessica Ross and Trevion Taylor Sr. say Dr. Jackson Gates posted images from the autopsy on Instagram.
What this verdict says is that you can't just do people any type of way, and you can't take advantage of people.
Attorney Corey Lynch says this comes after a 3-day trial. A lawsuit against the hospital is still pending. Foreign ministers from France, Germany, Great Britain, and the EU are in Geneva for peace talks with Iran's foreign minister this afternoon amid a new round of strikes.
Iran has fired another barrage of missiles and drones at Israel. We know that they have hit the Israeli city of Haifa. In northern Israel. We are getting some numbers from an Israeli hospital, the Rambam Hospital, which is buried deep underground where it treats casualties.
Tom Sufi Burridge reports 12 people are injured, but no reports of fatalities. For the first time in nearly 3 decades, Georgia-grown peaches are being exported to Mexico. The country has had strict import restrictions on peaches produced in the southeastern U.S. since 1994 due to pest concerns, but new electronic cold pasteurization technology means 42,000 pounds of Georgia peaches can be sent to the country. State Agriculture Commissioner Tyler Harper says it's an important step forward in opening more markets for Georgia producers. Insurance giant Aflac suffers a major security breach. It's now warning its tens of millions of customers that criminals may have obtained social security numbers, insurance claims, private health information, and more. We've got live team coverage of traffic and weather next. It's 12:31.
If you've ever organized your closet only to have it look like a bomb went off in there 1 month later, then it's time to call Artisan Custom Closets. Reach-in closets, walk-in closets, pantry spaces, garages. With a custom spacious closet from Artisan, you'll never have to deal with all that clutter again. All your stuff neatly organized and designed to stay that way. Call the Closet Bomb Squad, Artisan Custom Closets. They'll diffuse your clutter and make it safe to enter your closet again. ArtisanCustomClosets.com.
When everyone in the family wants something different from this year's vacation, there's only one thing to do. Plan for Pigeon Forge. From gorgeous mountain views, shows, and shopping for leisure lovers to coasters, a 200-foot swing, and hundreds more rides for adventure seekers. Plus Dollywood's epic array of fun. There's plenty of variety for the whole family, all in one place. Unique experiences, quality time, and memories for years to come. Find your personal favorites. Plan your getaway at mypigeonforge.com.
365 days a year, just call us up, we'll be right there. Our service is guaranteed. At Shoemate, we take great care. Our experts are always there for you and your family's needs. When your family just can't wait, you can always count on Shoemate.
There's a new optimism in the air, and we think investors like you might have the best year ever. Hello, I'm Brant Frost, founder of First Liberty Building and Loan. Last year, we opened up our First Liberty Notes program to Main Street investors just like you, and the response has been just incredible. Everyday folks from all walks of life have enjoyed 8 to 13% interest rates while helping to fuel the growth of small businesses right here at home. If you're a qualified investor and have a minimum of $25,000, you too could be earning 8 to 13% interest rates. We'd love to have you join our First Liberty family today. We believe this is going to be a special year and a great year. We've got the projects, now we need partners like you. Go to FirstLibertyGA.com and see if our First Liberty notes are right for you. Go to FirstLibertyGA.com. That's FirstLibertyGA.com.
First Liberty notes are not obligations of or guaranteed by any financial institution and are not secured by any collateral. They are not FDIC insured or guaranteed by any government agency. You could lose money. Purchasers must verify their SEC accredited investor status. Securities are not being offered in any jurisdiction in which it is unlawful.
It's 12:34. Time for live team coverage of traffic and weather. Andrew Seekos in the WSB 24-hour traffic center.
Checking those brake lights through downtown Marietta with the crash and police activity. Travel advisory with the right lanes blocked. 75 South North Marietta Parkway, exit 265. We're back into Kennesaw with the delays at exit 271 to Chastain Road. Avoid the area there. Take Highway 41. Little trouble on the southeast side. Crash into center lane, says the DOT. 285 West, the inner loop at Flat Hills Road, exit number 48. And traffic trooper Greg let us know about this trouble through the Mall of Stonecrest. Crash in at least one lane, seeing the brake lights stack back already. I-20 westbound at Evans Mill Road, exit 74. Andrew Seco, 95.5 WSB.
I'm Channel 2 Action News Chief Meteorologist Brad Nitz. 91 today, 93 Saturday and Sunday with a mostly sunny sky. We'll be in the mid-90s early next week.
It's 85 in Conyers, 82 in Austell, also 82 in Midtown. More news at 1 o'clock. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Austin Eller, 95.5 WSB.
I just gave it to you. You can call in if you text Eric, E-R-I-C-K, to 33777. You can get the show notes, the live stream, the podcast, so much more. The president has scored a big victory. The Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals. They have allowed him to maintain control of the National Guard. I'll get there, but first, I want to go to Wayne, calling from Orlando, Florida. Welcome to the show, Wayne. How are you?
Hey, I'm all right, Eric. How you doing?
Good.
Good. So I got two comments for you. The first one is a question I've had for a couple decades, ever since I read a particular article, and it's this. Everybody's talking about illegal aliens that have been here for years, they've worked the job for 20 years, et cetera, so on. What's happening to the employers that are either failing to fill out or falsifying a federal I-9 document? And then the second comment is, I don't care how much a man wants to walk around telling everybody he's a woman, at some point he's going to need a prostate exam.
Yeah, amen. So the first one, not a thing, honestly. And if you want to solve illegal immigration in this country, you go after the employers and you solve the problem immediately. I mean, that's the reality. And nobody wants to do that. Now, interestingly enough, the president has changed his guidance. You know, last week he issued a directive saying don't target farms or the hospitality industry. And over the weekend changed back and said, no, do it. Now they say they're going to prioritize going after criminals first. I mean, go after the employers. The problem is actually the way Congress wrote the laws doesn't do you a whole lot of good. They might get some civil penalties for hiring illegal immigrants, but no one's going to go to jail, so they'll keep doing it. But there needs to be some reform there. Now, I got to tell you about the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals. Charles Cook at National Review actually pointed out it is a weird trend lately where people lose in court. The Trump administration has done this. Progressives have done this. Gavin Newsom is now doing this. They lose in court, and then they claim that they won. The Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals 3-judge panel unanimously, and by the way, it included an Obama-appointed judge, unanimously, the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals has ruled that Donald Trump is entitled to use the National Guard pretty much as he sees fit. The Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals rejected, what's his name, Charles Breyer, who is Stephen Breyer's brother, rejected his decision, and this is Gavin Newsom. Gavin Newsom put this out. This fight doesn't end here. The court rightly rejected Trump's claim that he can do whatever he wants with the National Guard and not have to explain himself to a court. The president is not a king and is not above the law. We will press forward with our challenge to President Trump's authoritarian use of U.S. military soldiers against citizens. If you read that, the court rightly rejected Trump's claim that he can do whatever he wants with the National Guard and not have to explain himself to a court. You might presume Gavin Newsom won the case. Gavin Newsom lost the case. The Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals unanimously ruled that Donald Trump can summon the National Guard. He does not have to wait for permission. Doesn't have to do it. He can do it whenever he wants to do it. This is a per curiam decision, which means it's the 3 judges. They're not signing their name. It's not a super long decision by any means in terms of these. It amounts to 38 pages, but I want to read for you part of this. Expressing concern about what they describe as the president's nearly limitless conception of the law, California argues that this case marks the first time that a president has invoked this area of the law to order troops to patrol the streets of a major American city in support of routine civil law enforcement activities, while civil law enforcement officials at the local, state, and federal level all remain available and are doing that work. We emphasize, however, that our decision addresses only the facts before us. And although we hold that the president likely has authority to federalize the National Guard, nothing in our decision addresses the nature of the activities in which the federalized National Guard may engage. Before the district court, California argued that certain uses of the National Guard would violate the Posse Comitatus Act. The district court found that claim to be premature, and California hasn't made it before us an argument. We expressed no opinion on it. California also urges that the public interest is in its favor because the continued presence of National Guard members in Los Angeles risks worsening, not improving, tensions on the ground, and the federalization of the National Guard impairs the Guard's ability to perform critical functions for the state, including support for fighting forest fires and combating drug trafficking. These concerns are counterbalanced by the undisputed fact that federal property has been damaged and federal employees have been injured, and the evidence presented in the temporary restraining order hearing show that the federalized National Guard members were engaged only in protecting federal personnel and property. Did you hear that in the media, by the way? Did you know that? If you listen to my show, you did. The National Guard, and this is the court finding, the National Guard is only protecting federal personnel and property. Additionally, at least with respect to the issues here, California's concerns have more bearing on the question of whether the president should have federalized the California National Guard, not whether he has the authority to do so under the law. We also note that California's concerns about escalation and interference with local law enforcement at present are speculative. We do not know whether future protests will grow due to the deployment of the National Guard. And we do not know what emergencies may occur in California while the National Guard is deployed. Accordingly, at this time, on these facts, the remaining stay factors weighs in favor of the president. In other words, they just made these wild claims. In fact, what the court found is that if the president of the United States chooses to summon the National Guard to be involved in federal functions at the state level, the president is within his right to do so, whether or not the state wants them to. Now, let's just take this back, please. Let's take this back to the president of the United States integrating the University of Alabama back during desegregation. George Wallace stood in the way, tried to block the National Guard from going onto campus to integrate the University of Alabama. In Arkansas and elsewhere, local officials tried to block the National Guard. If Gavin Newsom's argument prevailed, George Wallace could have blocked the integration of the University of Alabama. Even though it was a United States Supreme Court decision to desegregate, Congress passed the Civil Rights Act, among other things. The President of the United States, citing federal law and Supreme Court precedent, said these institutions have to be desegregated. The local authorities had no interest in doing it, so he sent in the National Guard. According to the argument Gavin Newsom made, George Wallace, the governor of Alabama at the time, should have been able to say, I'm sorry, Mr. President, you can't have the National Guard. Therefore, keeping those institutions segregated. That's why it was obvious to everyone that the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals, no matter how liberal the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals may be, it was obvious to everyone that the Ninth Circuit was going to side with President Trump. The only people it wasn't obvious to were the legal pundits on television. Many of the legal pundits on national television, like in the Scrimeti case on the transgender issue, they bent over backwards to give credit to the claims of the trans activists. They worked very hard to give credit to the trans activists when every normal lawyer in America knew they were going to lose. And in this case, too, every normal lawyer in America knew that Gavin Newsom was going to lose. Look at the case where the Colorado Secretary of State tried to remove Donald Trump from the ballot for the primary. It was obvious to everyone except for legal commentators on the left, David French of the New York Times, the talking heads on CNN and the like, that they were going to lose. It was obvious to everybody that the Secretary of State of Colorado could not control access to the ballot for the President of the United States. Congress had not intervened. There was clear history there about congressional intervention. And you know what the response was, including from David French, now the New York Times was, well, the court got it wrong. No. You got it wrong and should have the humility. All of you who disagreed with the Supreme Court, y'all all should have acknowledged it was obvious to pretty much everyone other than yourselves that you were going to lose that case. But you not only could you not acknowledge that you had the losing hand, you insisted you were right, the court just got it wrong. No, the court got it right. Unanimously got it right, by the way, unanimously. The arrogance of the commentators in that case about the Colorado Secretary of State to insist that they were right, to insist their argument was the valid one, to lose 9-0 in the United States Supreme Court and then say, well, they got it wrong, not us. No. This is how broken the commentary is. And the same here on national television, the talking heads at CNN, at MSNBC, and the New York Times and the like insisted that Gavin Newsom had a legitimate argument. And if you just extrapolated out Gavin Newsom's argument, it would have gotten to George Wallace could have canceled the desegregation of the University of Alabama based on the arguments California was making. And everyone in their right mind knows that is not going to happen. Everyone in their right mind knew that couldn't happen, except these people on TV who always want to dangle hope for the left. By the way, tangent, side note here. Is it possible that even when progressives control all the strings in Washington, they're so miserable and unhappy is because the media lies to them so much? Could it be? I mean, the rug is always pulled out from under them. They listen to MSNBC. They even listen to CNN a lot. And the legal commentators tell them, oh, your arguments are golden. You're so good. You're going to win this case. And then they don't. And it's obvious to everyone, except the voices they're listening to on MSNBC. That's why they're so dour and miserable, because they get lied to all the time. Their hopes get built up. It's the hope that kills you. Isn't that what they say? It's the hope that kills you. They keep being fed false hope by media narratives that no normal person thinks are real. And then normalcy prevails, and they're like, they pulled the rug out from under us again. How dare they? This country's going to hell. No, guys, it was just obvious. Normal and sane people, it was obvious. Normal and sane people, it's been obvious the whole time that you were going to lose. And yet the media kept telling you you had a chance to win. Insanity prevailed. That's what's happening. And I do actually think one of the reasons for mental health problems on the left these days is because of not just because, I mean, progressivism is a mental health issue generally, but because they keep being fed false hope by the media and then lose. Think about that Colorado case. I mean, I remember David French's call. I was like, hey, David, buddy, you're out to lunch on this issue. You had on all the legal experts on CNN saying, oh, it's valid. I was like, there's no way this is valid. They do not have that power. And the Supreme Court unanimously agrees with your host, Eric Erickson. And everybody, they're all like, the Supreme Court got this wrong. When the Supreme Court is unanimous, exercise some humility. And they can't. The system continues to work as designed, folks. The system continues to work as designed. And that should give you all hope. In fact, if you go to ericforhillsdale.com, you can take one of the courses on the founding of the Republic and the creation of the Constitution and see this system, as we're seeing it today, works. The founders designed it. It works. You go to ericforhillsdale.com, E-R-I-C-K, ericforhillsdale.com. You sign up. They've got 40 classes to choose from: literature, philosophy, political science, history, chemistry, economics, mathematics. Find the class you're interested in. You take it free of charge. There is no charge. They're video lectures. They're divided in episodes. You watch it at your own pace, and when you're done, you get a certificate of completion from Hillsdale College. You get smarter about a topic you're interested in. You pick the topic, they make you smarter for no charge. ericforhillsdale.com, E-R-I-C-K. Go sign up with Hillsdale College today. Improve your mind, get the certificate of completion, never pay a penny. ericforhillsdale.com.
Honest.
Putting your trust in me to tell you what's going on.
Transparent.
I need you to know this from the bottom of my heart.
Giving you the information without the noise.
My job isn't to tell you what you want to hear, it's to tell you the truth.
It's the Eric Erickson Show.
12:49 in the Cool Ray Carrier Traffic Center. Watching the brake lights build through Marietta. Our travel advisory still active. Right lanes blocked with this crash in police activity. 75 South North Marietta Parkway, exit 265. A few extra miles of delay stacking on here. Over 30 minutes trying to get out of Kennesaw down towards the heart of Marietta. Looks like our alternate Highway 41 is filling in as well, so you want to pack your patience through here. And a little trouble by the Mall of Stonecrest. Got a crash in the left lane, says traffic trooper Greg. I-20 westbound approaching Evans Mill Road, exit number 74. This report sponsored by your neighborhood Kroger Pharmacy. Kroger Pharmacy welcomes Express Scripts, Medicare D, and TRICARE Department of Defense Plan members. You can transfer prescriptions at Kroger.com/payer update. Andrew Seco, 95.5 WSB.
When news breaks,
Major escalation in the Middle East. Israel and Iran have traded attacks.
we've got it covered.
Iran has launched missiles at Israel, including in Tel Aviv and Jerusalem.
Tune in often for the latest.
An American official now confirms the U.S. is helping Israel intercept the missiles.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's breaking news station.
Every year for the 4th of July, my family invites over friends, and I get a big box of burgers and Franks from Omaha Steaks, and we grill out. It's going to be the same this year. Right now, for the 4th of July sale, you can get 50% off site-wide at Omaha Steaks. Just like me, I don't get a special. I take the discount as well, and you can use the promo code ERIC at checkout and get an extra $45 off. So it's already 50% off site-wide, and then you put in ERIC as your promo code, and you get $45 extra off, minimum order required. You get unparalleled quality from Omaha Steaks. It's deliciousness. Get the burgers, get the gourmet jumbo franks. You can get the sides, everything you need. You can even get steaks. We do this every year. It's become a family tradition. Start your own family tradition with Omaha Steaks. Again, 50% off site-wide right now. And if you go to omahasteaks.com with the 50% off site-wide, you get an extra $45 off if you use ERIC, E-R-I-C-K, at checkout. omahasteaks.com.
At the Original Mattress Factory, we make mattress shopping easy. We offer our lowest and best price to everyone, every day, so you can shop when you're ready. We show you exactly what's inside of our mattresses so you can see and feel the quality for yourself to ensure you're getting the best value. And we offer a no-pressure shopping experience. Our team is here to help you find the best mattress for you. It's that easy. Visit an OMF location today to see the Original Mattress Factory difference for yourself.
Market volatility isn't slowing down. If you're nearing retirement, now is not the time to wait and see. Every day of uncertainty can put your future at risk. It's time to diversify. I'm Jeff Jr. with Trajan Wealth, and I want you to know you can create certainty, locking in guaranteed income for life. This means predictable, stable cash flow, even in turbulent times. You've worked too hard to leave your retirement to chance. Right now, there are options to receive up to 30% upfront or annual growth of up to 10% for retirement income. That's up to $30,000 upfront or up to $10,000 per year on $100,000, all guaranteed for retirement income. Don't wait. Call 404-390-4000. That's 404-390-4000.
Annuity guarantees are based on the claims paying ability of the issuing insurance company. Any examples provided are hypothetical. Annuities are issued with prospectus and sales brochures and should be reviewed carefully before funding as features and benefits vary. DBA in most states as Trajan Wealth Insurance Solutions.
Critters creeping? Better call Breda Pest Management. They handle bugs and critters. And Breda is proud to sponsor Scott Slade's Georgia every Thursday on Atlanta's Morning News.
Breda, no need to be afraid of bugs.
WSB Atlanta, WSB BFM, and HD1 Doraville. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
He may not tell you what you want to hear, but he tells you what you need to hear. It's the Eric Erickson Show.
Greetings. This hour of the program brought to you by First Liberty Building and Loan. They are in Noonan, Georgia, but they help people all the way out to Alaska and Hawaii. Businesses that are looking to grow, tired of dealing with lenders where the lending officer changes all the time. Build a relationship with First Liberty, firstlibertyga.com, firstlibertyga.com. Tell them I sent you. If you're building a building, you're buying a franchise, you need heavy equipment, you got to get capital for it, reach out to them, firstlibertyga.com. Y'all, because Charlie heard it, so he made me listen to it. And since he made me listen to it, I'm making you listen to it. You know, Hank Johnson. Hank Johnson is that Democrat from Georgia who actually believed if you put people on the island of Guam, it could flip the island over, like literally catapult them off the island, flip it over. He really believed that. I've played you the audio before. Well, this is the latest. This is the Democratic representative of Georgia who's come out with an anti-Trump song.
I'm compelled with a new guitar and with some thoughts about that old song, Hey Joe, you know, to give some commentary on where we are now. Hey, Trump, where you going with that gun in your hand? Hey, Trump, where you going with that gun in your hand? I'm going down the street and shoot down democracy. You know I want to be a king someday.
I will spare you all the rest. It goes on for another minute, 15 seconds. I'm going to spare you that. I want to kill my ratings. Good Lord. This is where the Democrats, and it's also performative. It's also performative. Y'all, it's an open line Friday, 877-973-7425. When we come back, Jerry Nadler of New York is urging that ICE agents stop covering their faces. It's not just Nadler. It is becoming something progressives are doing. The mayor of Nashville, Tennessee, is outing ICE agents, identifying them, circulating their names, demanding they not cover their faces. Democrats are trying to get ICE agents killed. Trinidad, the violent Venezuelan gang, targets law enforcement and their families. These agents are deporting these gang members who have a history of murdering the children of law enforcement officers whose identities they know. The Democrats are trying to get ICE agents and their families killed. That's what's happening here. And they refuse to be honest about what they're doing. Essentially, they're trying to make them fear for their lives so that they stop deportations. The Democrats are on the side of illegal alien gangbangers, violent gangbangers now. They hate the laws of the United States so much, they're trying to get law enforcement officers murdered for doing their jobs. The poisonous insanity of the progressive left continues to infect the Democrats. From the trans issue to now seeking violence against ICE agents through doxing them, while they themselves are complaining about being doxed by people on the right. They're playing with fire here, and they're escalating, and they don't even realize it. In fact, voices in the media are doing everything they can to justify the Democrats seeking violence against ICE agents. They're making excuses for it. We'll get into it, and I'll take your phone calls when we come back. Nationwide, you're listening to The Eric Erickson Show.
Everyone has an opinion.
We have become an idiotic nation that doesn't know how to even debate anything, so it doesn't surprise
Eric
me.
Von Hessler has an opinion.
You will still age.
And some advice.
Start doing things when you're younger. Drink a lot of water.
Eric Von Hessler, today at 3.
And you will still die.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
Paid for by Christian Care Ministry.
You know, a lot of times you have to choose between something high quality or something that saves you money. But what if you could get both? Why not? Especially when it comes to health care, and that is Medi-Share. You get both. Many families save $500 a month with Medi-Share, and that's huge, but it's also true that people wind up way more satisfied, too. And we know this from research of members. There's a lot they like about Medi-Share, but especially they love being part of something they believe in. And Medi-Share works, too. It has for more than 30 years. There are hundreds of thousands of members who love having telehealth if they need it. They love the huge PPO network. So, yeah, really, you could save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care. So if you're self-employed or you're part of the gig economy or you just want a plan you're happy with, you can call right now and get a price in 2 minutes. Here's the number. Call 855-51-BIBLE. That's 855-51-BIBLE. 855-51-BIBLE.
News, weather,
traffic.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
At 1 o'clock, I'm Austin Eller. This news brought to you by Dr. Roof. Our top local story, their son was decapitated during a botched delivery, and now a pair of young parents win a multi-million-dollar verdict against the doctor who performed the autopsy.
There's no gray line. It's not a close call. Dr. Gates really blew it.
Attorney and physician Dr. Roderick Edmonds says a Fulton County jury heard the anguish of Jessica Ross and Travion Taylor Sr., whose decapitated son was shown in Instagram video by forensic pathologist Dr. Jackson Gates. While Gates often shows autopsy images, attorney Corey Lynch says the jury wasn't standing for it here.
A lot of them didn't buy the excuses he gave or the reasoning he gave because of the graphic and grisly nature of the post. I think people were dumbfounded.
Veronica Waters, 95.5 WSB.
Right now it's 83 degrees in Midtown, hot today and sunny. Channel 2 Action News Chief Meteorologist Brad Nitz will have Atlanta's most accurate and dependable forecast coming up. Forsyth County authorities investigate an overnight shooting at an apartment complex on the southern end of the county. The county sheriff's office there says it happened at the Juncture Apartments just off McGinnis Ferry Road. The victim was taken to a local hospital where they were treated and later released, and officials believe the victim knew the shooter, but no word on a suspect or any arrests. A man is cited by Atlanta police for illegally putting parking boots on cars in the Summerhill neighborhood. Officers responded to Hank Aaron Drive, where there was a dispute between a man and a booting employee who's been identified as Evan Veasley. He gave police his driver's license but became agitated after they asked for his booting permit. The agency says Veasley does not have an active and updated permit with the city for booting vehicles. He was briefly detained but was not arrested. An insurance giant based in Georgia notifies its customers about a cyber attack and a possible data breach.
Aflac says the cyber attack is blamed on a sophisticated cybercrime group waging a campaign against the insurance industry. While the company managed to stop it within hours of noticing suspicious activity, Aflac acknowledges the hackers might have had access to files containing social security numbers, claims, health information, and other personal data. It set up a call center to offer customers and employees free credit monitoring and identity theft protection as the investigation continues. Jennifer Perry, 95.5 WSB.
Similarly, around 16 billion passwords are reportedly compromised in a different breach after one of the largest data breaches in history. Logins to social media, VPNs, and user accounts for a wide variety of web services like Apple and Google all been left exposed. Those passwords are often put up for sale on the dark web and then can later be used for identity theft, fraud, and blackmail. We've got live team coverage of traffic and weather up next. It's 1:02.
The big focus in America today is on your health, and more people looking beyond pills and steroids and surgery. Hey, it's Mark Aaron for QC Kinetics. At QC Kinetics, they've been on the cutting edge of this medical revolution since 2018. Using regenerative medicine, they have helped tens of thousands of people get lasting joint pain relief using natural treatments that harness your body's own healing power. The truth is, regenerative medicine used to be an alternative treatment. Now it's mainstream, and QC Kinetics is the nation's leader. Their well-respected protocols include potent and powerful cellular-level treatments to revitalize and restore damaged joint tissue. They're not masking the pain. They're going after the very source of it. Yes, you can say goodbye to that chronic pain and live your best life. Learn more about this revolutionary treatment and get a free consultation. Call QC Kinetics now. 770-285-8026. 770-285-8026. That's 770-285-8026.
Comcast Business is celebrating Small Business Month by giving you a $1,000 small business bonus when you switch to a qualifying gig speed package from the company with over 99.99% network reliability. Just imagine the thousands of possibilities of a $1,000 prepaid card. Like possibility number 1, company merch for staff. Stylin'. Or possibility number 24, the latest software. Upgrade. Or possibility number 192, new equipment powered by gig speeds. Or possibility number 555, a 3D printer. Rapid prototyping, anyone? Switch to Comcast Business for over 99.99% network reliability, advanced cybersecurity, and now get started with a $1,000 small business bonus. Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
And 62225. New customers only with 2-year agreement. Other restrictions apply.
More local news.
The employee at a Walmart in Covington is in custody. Atlanta companies already warning of turbulence in the economy.
More traffic.
One crash on I-20 westbound.
40 minutes to head up the connector.
More weather.
We may be seeing this tornado strengthening.
Atlanta's morning news.
Monday morning at 5.
Newton County authorities crediting the Georgia State Patrol.
Wake up with 95.5 WSB. How Atlanta starts its day.
It's 1:05. We've got live team coverage of traffic and weather. Andrew Seco is in the WSB 24-hour traffic center.
Bit of a sigh of relief through the heart of Marietta. Crash with police activity limited to the shoulder. All lanes back open. 75 South North Marietta Parkway. Exit 265. Brake lights still taking you all the way back into Kennesaw. So keep these in Highway 41 till we're in better shape. And we might have something new popping on the connectors. Watching a bit of a slowdown. 75 85 southbound. Intense brake lights leaving Buckhead and Brookhaven all the way down towards 10th Street. Exit number 250. Andrew Seco, 95.5 WSB.
I'm Channel 2 Action News Chief Meteorologist Brad Nitz with Atlanta's most accurate and dependable weather forecast. Headed to 91 and mostly sunny today. We'll stay mostly sunny, hot and dry this weekend. 93 Saturday and Sunday.
Right now it is 85 degrees in Forest Park, 83 in Mableton, also 83 in Midtown. More news at 1:30. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Austin Eller, 95.5 WSB.
Boys and girls, welcome. It is Eric Erickson here across the United States. The phone number is 877-973-7425. Should you wish to be on the program, I would be delighted to have you with me. We've got to play you audio of Jerry Nadler. He is the Democratic congressman from New York. I believe he's retiring. They're largely chasing him out. He's so old they want someone new. He's behind a podium with the U.S. House Representative seal that almost covers his face, which is ironic given what he's talking about. But just listen to this from the congressman.
But these people are wearing masks and are totally unidentified. And the question is why? The question is why. It's completely improper, and again, one has to assume they're hiding something, or they're hiding misbehavior, because otherwise, why would they be wearing masks and denying their identities?
He's talking about ICE agents. There's a story, it is out of local media in Nashville, Tennessee, Fox 17 there. The mayor of Nashville, Tennessee, has released the names of ICE agents. It's brought scrutiny from Republican lawmakers, the Department of Homeland Security, and ICE over concerns that endangers federal immigration officers. Nashville's mayor said the bigger concern is the masking, but ICE agents said they're masking because of threats in the current political climate. I wouldn't say it was an endangerment process, says Freddie O'Connell, the mayor of Nashville. I'm far more concerned about the overall dynamic we have about unmasked, unidentifiable people whisking people away. The statement follows, this is the reporter writing, my line of questioning about the mayor's office releasing the names of federal immigration officers on the Office of New Americans website. Do you believe that posting the names of federal immigration officers endangers them? I asked. Well, that was really an issue where we were already part of the public record. I don't think it puts them at additional risk. So I followed up with, so if it doesn't put them at additional risk, why did your office decide to remove the names? He said it wasn't an intentional process. This is something new. We're reviewing it. We obviously had some concerns from DHS about releasing those names. We would still be discoverable, but that was not an intent of the executive order. You got that? The mayor of Nashville released the names of ICE agents in the Nashville area. Put them on a website. And his excuse was, well, I mean, you can dig around on other websites. They're federal employees. You can eventually find their names. He made it real easy for people to find their names. And then when called out, they deleted it. He's like, well, I mean, we didn't delete it because of concerns. The Democrats and the media are trying to get ICE agents murdered and their families murdered. And I want to be very honest with you. I'm not making this up. ICE agents are tracking down Trinidad gang members and deporting them from the United States. You know why we're not talking about MS-13 right now, the Mexican gang? Because Trinidad is even more violent. One of the hallmarks in Venezuela and in Central and South American countries, and allegedly in parts of this country now, are that Trinidad gang members find law enforcement officers and figure out who their family members are, and they threaten to kill the family members as a way to deter the police and investigators from prosecuting them. It's like serious mob violence. They target the families of law enforcement and the lives of law enforcement officers. Those are the people that ICE are deporting. The media is playing up the random grandmother or the young person who's being targeted by ICE, but by and large, they are targeting criminals. They're targeting people with records. Many of them are gang members. And the Democrats have become so invested in progressive politics, they can't even recognize that they've gone off the rails on this. Democrats are trying to get immigration officers murdered, and it really is that simple. There is no reason for them to put up the names and in some cases the home addresses of ICE agents. And yes, they're exposing home addresses of ICE agents, not just their names. They're trying to make the ICE agents think twice about being ICE agents. They're trying to encourage them to quit for their sake and the sake of their family. There's no reason to do that. Some Democrats in Congress are concerned because people have started sending pizzas to the homes of members of Congress and to members of the federal judiciary. This has been happening to me and a number of other conservatives for the past several months. 5 or 6 times now. I've had a poor Domino's pizza driver, then it was a Pizza Hut driver. I've had Papa John show up. The orders came in online, used my home address, were paid at delivery. They didn't pay for them. They set it for pay at delivery. I've actually had to call all the pizza delivery places and say, this is happening to my family. We don't know why. But if you get an order and it's not prepaid, don't deliver it to my house. The poor Domino's people delivered 3 orders. Think about the money they lost. No, I wasn't buying the pizza. I wasn't going to do that. I wasn't going to incentivize it. And I called the Domino's people. I was very apologetic and said, please stop delivering to my house. My kids don't eat Domino's pizza. If an order comes to our house, it's not from us. Please don't deliver. Because it's now happening to judges and members of Congress, including Democrats, are now suddenly concerned about it. When it was just happening to me and other conservatives, they didn't care one bit about it. Some members of Congress did, but not the Democrats. They didn't care at all. Now it's happening to them, and they're very upset about it. It's an invasion of privacy. These are the same Democrats who are posting the names of ICE agents. In some cases, Democrats are going so far as to try to post their pictures, and they wonder why the ICE agents are covering their faces. But the corollary here is remarkable. Since October 8th, 2023, Antifa activists and pro-Hamas sympathizers around the country, particularly on college campuses, have been covering their faces to engage in protest and violence against Jews, and the Democrats have not been concerned at all. If you want to put on a mask and beat up a Jew in this country, the Democrats will claim it's your First Amendment right. You want to put on a mask and deport an illegal alien criminal, the Democrats will demand that you be exposed, held accountable, and harassed. That's where the Democratic Party is right now. That's why I'm not convinced that 2026 is going to be a blowout for the Democrats in the midterm elections, because they're going off the rails. The madness, it's going off the rails. I have to tell you, I don't think this ends well, and I know what's going to happen. And Charlie, we may want to save this in the See I Told You So file. Because here's what's going to happen. Democrats are eventually going to take back power. And Republicans are going to begin doing this to Democratic officials. and agents of the state who are sympathetic to the Democrats, and violence is going to happen against them. And then the American media is finally going to say, this is wrong, we shouldn't do this. Why are Republicans targeting these people to get them hurt? And I want you to note right now, here in the year of our Lord, 2025, this is happening, and the media is not condemning the Democrats. They're trying to do a both sides say thing. They're trying to make it seem reasonable for the Democrats. They're fairly dismissive of threats of violence against ICE agents. The Department of Homeland Security is noting the data here. And the data is that ICE agents have faced a 500% increase in assaults. 500% increase in assaults. They're being targeted for violence by progressive activists. And the Democrats are trying to make it easier to engage in violence against them. This is insane. They've gone from defunding the police to doxing law enforcement officers. They've gone from wanting to get rid of the police to let's just scare them from their jobs so they don't police. This is what's happening here. The Democrats can't say we want to defund the police. They know that's a political liability for them. They don't want to say it. So what they're trying to do is to get law enforcement officials to actually quit their jobs by making them scared to do their jobs, by making their families scared for them to do their jobs, by incentivizing the wives and children fearing for their lives so that the husbands and fathers say, I've got to leave this job. My family is scared. It's a backdoor way to defund them, but it's defunding them through doxing them, through making them scared. It's a monstrously barbaric thing for the Democrats to do, to put the families of ICE agents in fear for their lives because of how the Democrats are doxing the ICE agents. It used to be a common understanding on both sides of the aisle, you do not do this. Only bad, crazy people dox someone. That is to expose their home address so that the online mob can target them. It's happened to me. I've been swatted before. They haven't just showed up at my house with pizzas. I had the police show up at my house, surrounding my house with firearms because someone made a 911 phone call over the internet, claimed it was me. I had murdered my wife and I was going to go across the street and murder my neighbors. They surrounded my home. It's going to happen to ICE agents because of what Democrats are doing, and they don't care. Not only do they not care, the media doesn't care. The media is justifying it. The Democrats are rationalizing it. They're explaining that they shouldn't be doing this, and because they shouldn't be covering their faces, we're going to give you their names. We're going to give you their home addresses. We're going to expose who they are. That exposure is designed to provoke violence. During the Tea Party movement back in 2010, a couple of Democrats had people show up at their homes, harassing them. It was major national media coverage that these crazy Tea Partiers were harassing Democrats. They didn't actually note that there were 17 acts of violence during. Remember, back then in 2010, the Democrats were doing these, they were doing town halls. Conservatives were showing up to complain about Obamacare. There were 17 acts of violence. 16 of the 17 were union operatives beating up the conservative Tea Party activists. And I'm not making that up. You can look at the statistic. Mary Catherine Ham herself wrote about it at the time that it was happening. 16 out of 17 acts of violence back then, and the media never covered those 16 acts of violence. They covered the two crazy people who showed up at the Democratic congressman's home, tried to tie those two crazy people to the Tea Party movement. By the way, one might have been, the other was very much distinctly unrelated. Now it's Democrats encouraging that people target law enforcement officers. Where does it stop? It starts with ICE agents. Then does it go to local police? Because these are the same people who want to defund the local police. Do we have to have ICE agents murdered before the Democrats say maybe we've gone too far? Max Miller is a Republican congressman from Ohio. Yesterday, his family was run off the road, and the person who ran them off the road stopped their car, got out, and waved a Palestinian flag before driving off. Max Miller is not only a Republican congressman, but Jewish. The House Democratic leadership condemned it, thankfully. A lot of progressives said, oh, he's making it up to try to get attention. Got a Republican member of Congress with his family in the car run off the road by a Palestinian protester. And you have Democrats perfectly fine with Palestinian protesters covering their faces to protect their freedom of speech from harassment, but they don't want ICE agents to be able to protect themselves or their families. They actually want to target them. The mayor of Nashville, California legislators, Democrats in Washington, D.C., they're trying to get ICE agents murdered. And what will they do when they're successful? Will they say, well, we didn't know it was going to happen. We weren't actually doing that. It's obvious what they're doing. Democratic lawmakers are trying to get ICE agents murdered by illegal alien gangbangers. That's what's happening. Look at it. Pay attention to it. Don't obfuscate it. Don't deny it. It's what's going on. It is part of the plan. It's their way to discourage ICE from doing their job, to let them know if you do their job, we're going to try to get you killed, and it's elected Democrats doing it.
Those who love him, listen to find out what he's going to say next. Those who disagree with him, also listen to see what he's going to say next. It's the Erick Erickson Show.
Hit at 120 in the Cool Ray Carrier Traffic Center, watching the delays fizzle out through Kennesaw and Marietta, but we are not out of the woods yet. Earlier crash and police activity still causing the brake light 75 south at the North Loop, exit 265. This North Marietta Parkway. Seeing the brake lights catching you as you pass Wade Green Road. You'll want to use Highway 41 until we're in a little bit better shape through here. And some drama leaving the Mall of Stonecrest. Crash taking out the left lane. Already seen the brake lights backing to the Mall of Stonecrest or an I-20 westbound right there at Evans Mill Road, exit number 74. This is sponsored by the Georgia Lottery. Hey, Georgia, Mega Millions just got an upgrade. Now with bigger jackpots, better odds to win, and a built-in multiplier on every ticket. Drawings every Thursday and Friday. Andrew Seco, 95.5 WSB.
When news breaks,
Israel launches strikes on Iran. We've got it covered.
People are hunkering down in those bomb shelters.
With news at the top and bottom of every hour. And when it breaks,
Iran will decide they have nothing to lose. It's pedal to the metal.
Tune in often for the latest.
They're going to build a bomb.
95.5 WSB.
Atlanta's breaking news station.
There's a new optimism in the air, and we think investors like you might have the best year ever. Hello, I'm Brant Frost, founder of First Liberty Building and Loan. Last year, we opened up our First Liberty Notes program to Main Street investors just like you, and the response has been just incredible. Everyday folks from all walks of life have enjoyed 8 to 13% interest rates while helping to fuel the growth of small businesses right here at home. If you're a qualified investor and have a minimum of $25,000, you too could be earning 8 to 13% interest rates. We'd love to have you join our First Liberty family today. We believe this is going to be a special year and a great year. We've got the projects. Now we need partners like you. Go to FirstLibertyGA.com and see if our First Liberty notes are right for you. Go to FirstLibertyGA.com. That's FirstLibertyGA.com.
First Liberty notes are not obligations of or guaranteed by any financial institution and are not secured by any collateral. They are not FDIC insured or guaranteed by any government agency. You could lose money. Purchasers must verify their SEC accredited investor status. Securities are not being offered in any jurisdiction in which it is unlawful.
Hey, what's with the frog?
He's going swimming.
In the living room?
Yeah, in our carpet swamp.
Water pooling in your carpet or floor? You've got a leak. Call Delta Plumbing, the educated plumber. With over 50 years experience, they are the leak experts. Using state-of-the-art leak detection technology, they'll find and fix your leak without guessing games.
How fast can you get here?
Leak detection at educatedplumber.com. Problem solved.
I'm consumer investigator Dale Cardwell.
And I'm Monica Pearson. Dale and I have worked together for years, first at WSB, and today helping you find Georgia's best companies and sharing why they're the best.
Monica, one of the first companies I researched and recommended is AMCO Transmissions and Total Car Care. For more than a dozen years, they've consistently met my 7-point standard and honored my Make It Right guarantee. And I know you believe in AMCO just as much as I do.
Dale, over the years, we've both reported about people getting taken advantage of. So I'm keenly aware what it takes to deliver not just great performance, but great customer service. People who follow my advice literally stop me on the street and thank me for referring them to AMCO.
We all need mechanics we can trust for correct diagnosis, efficient repair, and fair price. Not just for transmission repair, but engines, brakes, check engine lights, and so much more. Call the locally owned AMCO near you.
And I know their nationwide warranty protects you everywhere.
That's AA.
MCO.
About 12, 13 years ago, I remember sitting in the house watching TV when I noticed that one of the walls looked different. It was wet. My roof was leaking.
Dave Baker for Finley Roofing, the roof guys.
I needed a new roof. Only one company passed all my criteria, Finley Roofing, the roof guys. Turned out they really are the extra effort experts. Right now, Finley is offering upfront pricing, 0% financing, and a free roof analysis. When it comes to roofing issues, think of Finley first. See them on the web at finleyroofing.com.
Paid for by Christian Care Ministry.
You know, a lot of times you have to choose between something high quality or something that saves you money. But what if you could get both? Why not? Especially when it comes to health care, and that is Medi-Share. You get both. Many families save $500 a month with Medi-Share, and that's huge, but it's also true that people wind up way more satisfied, too. And we know this from research of members. There's a lot they like about Medi-Share, but especially they love being part of something they believe in. And Medi-Share works, too. It has for more than 30 years. There are hundreds of thousands of members who love having telehealth if they need it. They love the huge PPO network. So, yeah, really, you could save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care. So if you're self-employed or you're part of the gig economy or you just want a plan you're happy with, you can call right now and get a price in 2 minutes. Here's the number. Call 855-51-BIBLE. That's 855-51-BIBLE. 855-51-BIBLE.
All the news, weather, and traffic you need. 95.5 WSB.
Taking the complicated and making it simple. It's the Eric Erickson Show.
Hello, America. It is Eric Erickson here across America. 877-973-7425 is the phone number this open line Friday. And let me go to Cindy's phone call. Welcome to the show, Cindy. How are you?
Fine, thank you. Thank you for taking my call. I didn't see it in the show notes, so I just wanted to bring it up real briefly. I didn't know if you'd seen the story about the Chinese planes that had filed a different flight plan and then ended up in Iran. I was wondering if we should be concerned whether maybe they're taking something like munitions to Iran or whether they're picking something up, or, should we be concerned?
We should be concerned. And now, in fairness, it was actually in the show notes 2 days ago. That's when I talked about it. No, it's okay. I don't expect everybody to keep up on it, but I just want you to know I did talk about it. But I'm glad you brought it up because it circulated again today in Fox News. It was a report of the Washington Post 2 days ago. And so here's what's going on. For those of you who don't know, they're 747 cargo jets. They're flying towards Iran. They're descending to below 10,000 feet and turning off their transponder when they get to the border. They're very clearly trying to avoid detection and radar. Some of them are flying flight plans claiming they're headed to Europe, and they're not. They wind up in Iran. We don't know what's on the jets. I suspect the Israelis do. It probably is munitions for the Iranians. More likely than not, they're doing resupplies for the Iranians. They have supplied warheads for the Iranians. We should be very concerned about it, Cindy, that it looks like they are engaged. Xi Jinping and Iran have an alliance, a 20-year global alliance. Now, at the same time, Xi Jinping is skeptical of Iran getting nukes because he actually views the Iranian leadership as unstable. He's got complicated views, but right now they're allies. And I got to tell you, I think we should all be concerned about is China sending these cargo jets. I don't know what they're sending. It's speculation on everybody's part, but it's also, we can be assured, not useful for us. Now, what's useful for you is to go get a great free report from Swiss America on the secret war on cash. 10 regional banks have had their credit downgraded. On top of that, you've got interest rates not going down anytime soon. Swiss America has been sounding the alarm on a secret war on cash. It's an all-out assault on our freedoms. With soaring interest rates squeezing the economy, with banks teetering on collapse, Swiss America can educate you on protecting your hard-earned assets. They are and have been trusted in this country for 40 years. Read their report, The Secret War on Cash. It's completely free. You call or text 800-289-2646. The all-out war on cash includes digital forms of currency. The government is trying to control your spending. Get the Secret War on Cash report free. Just mention Eric, E-R-I-C-K, when you call or text 800-289-2646. That's 800-289-2646 or SwissAmerica.com/Eric, E-R-I-C-K, SwissAmerica.com/Eric. Message and data rates may apply.
It's your money. Get it sooner. All you need is direct deposit with a checking or savings account at Coosa Valley Credit Union. This is Andy Harris, president of Coosa Valley Credit Union. Not only can you get your money sooner, but we believe in kinder banking where you deal with real people in person. So come see us.
Live from the Superior Plumbing Studios.
News, weather,
Traffic. 95.5 WSB.
Atlanta's News and Talk.
It is 1:30. I'm Austin Eller. This news brought to you by Ben Hill Renovations. Our top local story, a Fulton County jury awards more than $2 million in damages to the parents of a baby who was decapitated during delivery. They hired Dr. Jackson Gates to perform the child's autopsy, but Gates posted videos of that on social media.
$2 million sends a very, very strong message that this is just wrong. Patently wrong.
Attorney Dr. Roderick Edmonds says a lawsuit against the hospital is still pending. European diplomats meet with Iranian officials in Geneva as they hope to cool tensions in the Israeli conflict. Finn Gomez reports it comes as the White House mulls U.S. involvement.
The British foreign minister is expected to convey the message to the Iranians today in Geneva that the existing U.S. diplomatic offer remains on the table. The meeting in Geneva is taking place with ministers from Britain, France, and Germany.
The Trump administration has announced this afternoon sanctions as well on several foreign companies in a movement to cut into Iran's weapons programs. The two teachers killed in last year's tragic shooting at Appalachia High School are honored at a national memorial today. The names of Christina Iramia and Richard Aspinwall are both added to the National Monument to Fallen Educators that's in Kansas. It was initially dedicated in the wake of the Sandy Hook School shooting. 9 teachers have been added this year. Georgia-based insurance giant Aflac has been hacked. The company says hackers gained access to customers' personal information. They say that hack's impacting other insurance companies as well, specifically 2 in Pennsylvania, and that it was caused by an advanced cybercrime group. The hackers reportedly gained claims information, private medical info, and social security numbers. It is offering customers free credit monitoring and identity theft protection. It's 1:32. Live team coverage of traffic and weather next.
This is Scott Slade, and nothing takes the place of time when it comes to spotting problems with your health, especially cancer. The earlier, the better. That's where virtual imaging comes in. Virtual imaging's LDCT body scan can be invaluable, giving you more time for you and your loved ones to take charge of your health. They can detect tumors as early as precancerous virtually anywhere in your body, and aneurysms you may not even know are there. Due to overwhelming demand for a limited time, their $995 core body scan offer has been extended. It's a $2,495 value. Early detection saves lives, and now it's more affordable than ever. Virtual Imaging has gotten such great response to this offer that they've opened up more times in both offices, but appointments will fill up fast, so don't wait. Some minimum requirements may apply. Early detection is your best protection. To schedule your virtual imaging $995 core body scan, call 770-678-SCAN. That's 770-678-SCAN. Or make an appointment by visiting their website at virtualimagingatl.com.
You should never need financing for a simple garage door repair, but it's happening here. Out-of-town companies have invaded Atlanta for a cash grab, charging outrageous prices. Hi, I'm Dan Watkins, owner of All Four Seasons Garage, Entry Doors, and Windows. Stay local and stay on budget for every opening of your home. All Four Seasons, trusted in Atlanta for over 25 years, exceptional customer service, and fair, honest pricing. When trust matters, trust us. All the number 4 seasonsgarages.com.
Oh, popsicle drips, muddy shoes, and summertime messes, don't let them take over your home. Call Zerorez Carpet and Air Duct Cleaning. Zerorez uses their ZR water technology, no dirt-attracting soaps, no harsh chemicals, just a truly clean, healthy home. Right now, take advantage of their summer sale. Get 15% off all services, that is carpets, air ducts, rugs, tile, and more, all 15% off. Just mention Chris Chandler or book now at ZerorezAtlanta.com, and yeah, they do commercial cleaning too. Zerorez, all they leave is clean.
Hi, it's Mark Beckham with Atlanta Ramjack. Bigger isn't always better. Don't let the big companies fool you. Atlanta Ramjack is the leader in foundation repair. Whether it's residential or commercial, Ramjack is the most reliable, technically capable company in the business. Our staff has the most experience in solving difficult foundation problems. No one can match our expertise in foundation repair. Ramjack fixes the issues other companies can't. Go to atlantaramjack.com to set up your free estimate.
If you've ever organized your closet only to have it look like a bomb went off in there 1 month later, then it's time to call Artisan Custom Closets. Dave Baker here with a custom spacious closet from Artisan. You'll never have to deal with all that clutter again. ArtisanCustomClosets.com.
It's 1:34, time for live team coverage of traffic and weather. Andrew Seacoast in the WSB 24-hour traffic center.
Working hard to get this crash off to the shoulder through the Stonecrest area. As you're leaving the mall, you're going to be dodging that crash in the left lane, 20 westbound on Evans Mill Road, exit number 74. Looks like things should be cleared here in a matter of moments. In the meantime, pack your patience heading towards 285. Still slow out at Kennesaw. The earlier police activity with the crash still recovering. 75 south at the North Loop, exit 265 North Marietta Parkway. And just found new trouble on the jam cam stalled vehicle in a center lane. Looks like it might also be a crash off to the right as well. Bit of a tough spot here, 85 southbound Pleasant Hill Road, exit 104. Andrew Seco, 95.5 WSB.
I'm Channel 2 Action News Chief Meteorologist Brad Nitz. 91 today, 93 Saturday and Sunday with a mostly sunny sky. We'll be in the mid-90s early next week.
It's 82 in Sandy Springs, Decatur, and Midtown. More news at 2 o'clock. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Austin Eller, 95.5 WSB.
Welcome. It is Eric Erickson here. The phone number 877-973-7425. Should you wish to be on the program, I'm going to go to Dayton, Ohio. WHIO. Mike is listening up there. Welcome to the show, Mike. How are you?
Good, sir. How are you? Hey, this is the second time I'm calling in. You and I had a really great conversation last time about the strength of China.
Yes.
I am one of the intelligence analysts. I work in the community. And so I will tell you that this is something that we've been looking at for a while now, is the potential for those aircraft from China to dip into Iran and what that's all about. And one thing to keep in mind, size of the aircraft. They're not dropping off. We can't tell whether or not they're dropping off or picking up.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't make sense for them to be picking up anything, for one. Two, if they are dropping off, it's not going to be small arms ammunition. It's going to be larger systems. And when you think about the exchanges that have happened in the last week and a half, 2 weeks, it only makes sense that those are potentially replacements, missile replacements for Iran to launch into Israel. And we covered it. Do you mind if I get in a quick plug here?
Go for it. I'll allow it.
Okay. I am one of the hosts of the Don't Unfriend Me show. It's a podcast, and we reference your show all the time. And it's good because a lot of times, like, our information matches. And so I just wanted to invite anyone. We talked about this last night. That's the only reason I'm calling in.
Well, okay. So, Mike, let me run something by you then, because you're more expert on this than me, because I have a working theory. I haven't articulated it, so now's my chance. Let's go to Ukraine. What we're seeing in Ukraine is that the Russian technology, our F-16s are fairly capable, even in Ukrainian hands, of dealing with the Russians, in addition to all the other stuff we're giving them, the Javelin missiles and the like. But the Israelis, they're flying F-35s.
Right.
So I'm wondering if the Chinese are using Iran to test their systems they've developed to deal with the F-35 and even the F-22. If they're sending Iran missiles, radar systems, anti-aircraft, and the like, to try to test against our latest and greatest that we haven't deployed in Ukraine. There hasn't been a need for this cutting-edge technology in Ukraine, but Israel has our cutting-edge technology. So this might actually be a perfect testing ground for the Chinese to refine their weapons.
Right. So what we're saying then is that this is potentially a proxy war to test the advancement in certain technologies.
Mm-hmm.
And so when we start talking about advanced radars, advanced missile systems, I think you're right on the money, and it could go either way. It could go towards, hey, they're just looking to drop off their latest radar to see if they can observe F-35. Or, and this is something that comes from more so closely related to within the house. In other words, In other words, government studies, if you get my meaning. They have slowly started to deplete the types of missile systems that they can launch and are now scrambling because the supply chain has been disrupted because of Israel. So now they're scrambling to replace said missile systems with anything. So it could go either way.
Yeah, I'm really curious because I'm with you. There's no way they're loading stuff up and getting it out of Iran. There's no reason for them to do that. So they've got to be sending something in, and the only things I can think of is we know for certain that the Iranians are using advanced ballistic missile technology from China, and they eliminated the entirety. Israel eliminated the entirety of the upper chain of command for Iran, and have now done it twice. I don't know if you've heard this, folks, but in the last 48 hours, the rest of Iran's senior leadership went into the mountains to secure bunkers there, and Israel was already waiting for them and blew up the mountains. So now they've decapitated the leadership twice. And so, go ahead.
I did hear that. That. And something else to consider, and it's in that same vein, is that when Russia likes to market their missile systems, right, the S-300, the S-400 type systems, they will always endorse it or advertise it as, hey, if you buy our stuff, there is the guarantee that no Western aircraft can penetrate this. We can catch them. Well, that's plainly not true now, because that's what Iran was using. Right. And so for F-35 to literally destroy those types of systems in one or two sorties means that now Iran has to scramble to try and find something that works. Right.
And by the way, so there's another side piece of this, Mike, that no one's talking about. And this goes back to the president saying we have air superiority. The Israelis are flying F-35s above Iran, but the Americans are flying their F-22s up there. And as a buddy of mine pointed out, that we don't let anybody even look at them, let alone sell them. And the F-22 is in the air over Iran and clearly is having an impact without detection. So, yeah, I suspect China is trying to refine its systems against us by using Iran as a proxy. Fascinating stuff. Listen, plug your podcast one more time.
Thank you very much. You have a good day.
Thanks, Mike.
Yeah,
Mike,
can you hear me?
Give the name of your podcast one more time.
Yeah, so it's called the Don't Unfriend Me Show. Facebook, X, Tumblr, all of the major platforms. It's on every day from 7 p.m. And it's myself and another gentleman named Matthew Spear. We host it, and we are two former intelligence analysts.
Perfect. Mike, thanks very much. I appreciate that. Don't unfriend me either. 877-973-7425. Y'all, I want to read you something that came across the radar. A buddy of mine sent it to me. Because right now, the media is being flooded with reports that American analysts don't actually think Iran is close to nuclear projections. And the New York Times is saying, we don't think they are. Listen to this. Several reliable, well-informed sources confirmed the idea that Hitler's anti-Semitism was not so genuine or violent as it sounded, and that he was merely using anti-Semitic propaganda as a bait to catch masses of followers and keep them aroused, enthusiastic, and in line for the time when his organization is perfected and sufficiently powerful to be employed effectively for political purposes. A sophisticated politician credited Hitler with particular political cleverness for laying emphasis and overemphasis on anti-Semitism, saying you can't expect the masses to understand or appreciate your finer real aims. You must feed the masses with cruder morsels and ideas like anti-Semitism. It would be politically all wrong to tell them the truth about where you are really leading them. That's from 1922. 22. The same experts today say, well, the Iranians, they're not really on the verge of a weapon. Y'all, they buried their nuclear operation 300 feet under a mountain and have enriched uranium beyond civilian needs. They're trying to get a bomb. If they're not close to getting a bomb, now's the time to wipe out the operation in particular. Mark, I haven't talked about this. It's time to. Mark, welcome to the show. It's Eric Erickson here. How are you?
Hey, I'm good, Eric. How are you? Thanks for having me on the show.
Sure.
Hey, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry. It's about the Adriana Smith situation or case. I'm not sure how to call it. I don't know. Folks outside of Atlanta,
tragedy.
Outside of Georgia, probably don't know about it. We'll say tragedy. Yeah, true for everybody, obviously. And I noticed this, and I was on Nextdoor, and this was there because it comes up with the story. One of the news stations put a story out there, and it really got everybody very active. And one thing that's confusing people, and just one of the things I wanted to talk about, was the question about how the Life Act, the Heartbeat Act, figured into this, because Emory is making it sound like they made the decision based on that. But the more you look at it, the less sense it makes. And I was kind of wondering, how much do you think it's applicable? And I know there's something with health directives that may actually be applicable even if they didn't go by it. And it's just sort of strange to me how this is all working out and how little is actually known about it.
Yeah, so I'm glad you called in about this issue. And for those of you who don't know, April Newkirk has now been taken off life support and died. Emory University delivered her child, who delivered 1 pound 13 ounces, is in neonatal intensive care and will be for a while. Mark, here's the situation. Pro-abortion activists are ghouls. They're ghouls. And Emory University is apparently run by a bunch of ghouls who, to make a point about their support for abortion rights, decided to dangle over the heads of everyone the Georgia fetal heartbeat legislation and amplify left-wing talking points, or allow progressives at least to amplify left-wing talking points that didn't apply. The fetal heartbeat legislation in Georgia said that once a fetal heartbeat is detected, an abortion is not permissible in the state of Georgia. Actions designed to end a pregnancy are not legal. The Attorney General of the state of Georgia came out very clearly and said, taking a brain dead person off of life support is not an act designed to cause an abortion. Will the child die? Yes, the child will die. But the action of removing the brain dead person from life support is not to cause the abortion. It's a side effect. A plain and clear reading of the legislation shows that the fetal heartbeat legislation wasn't a factor here, but Emory University opposes the fetal heartbeat legislation, and I can only imagine that the people at Emory University decided that we can play up this case and gain sympathy for the left and the progressive pro-abortion cause by using this woman and refusing to allow her family to bury her, keeping this child alive so that we can highlight how much we hate the legislation. That's my guess, because it is, according to, I'm reading from the Associated Press right now, Emory University determined she had blood clots in her brain and she was declared brain dead. However, she was required to remain on life support because of her being pregnant. Now, again, let me read you specifically the message here. Smith's family said Emory doctors, that's Emory University, Emory doctors told them they were not allowed to remove the devices keeping her breathing because state law bans abortion after cardiac activity can be detected. Attorney General Chris Carr issued a statement saying the law did not require medical personnel to keep a woman declared brain dead on life support because removing life support is not an action with the purpose of terminating a pregnancy under the law. And that's the clear reading of the law. Either Emory's lawyers gave them bad advice or Emory University decided to use this brain-dead woman in a political stunt to try to hurt Republicans. It was a progressive, partisan situation. At the same time, there is now a child. And the child is in neonatal ICU. The woman, she died. She's brain dead. Now, you should know as well that, and this is the cruelty of the situation. She went to the doctor. She was having headaches for 4 months. Went to a hospital in Atlanta. She received medication. She was released. She was a nurse. The next morning, her boyfriend woke up. She was gasping for air. He called 911. The clots had gone to her brain. Emory University said she was brain dead. 8 weeks pregnant at the time. They left her on life support. Emory University doctors saying they weren't allowed to take her off because she was pregnant. It's not true, and you do need to understand it's not true. It's not a plain reading of the law. The Attorney General himself in Georgia says that's not a reading of the law, but they decided to do it. The left whipped it into action to try to gain sympathy for the left and to try to show how evil the Republicans were, keeping a brain-dead woman on life support for her child. But you know what? There is life. And I want to note before I get off here, a number of progressive activists are wishing that the baby dies. You should know that pro-abortion activists on social media are championing the death of the baby now because they think if the baby is alive, people will justify what happened. But if the baby dies too, maybe people will realize that what happened was bad. The ghoulishness of these people, from the people at Emory University to the pro-abortion activists, lives are at stake here. No, the law did not require this woman be left on life support. It was the ghoulish pro-abortion activists who decided to use her as an example to highlight their contempt for the law. That's actually what happened. But you won't get that from the media because the media is in it with them. Now, I want you to be with Vision Computer because they are willing to build you a computer. They're willing to build you the best computer you can get at an affordable price. They will work with you on all of it, and they can transfer all of your old computer stuff to the new computer stuff, and everything is set up the same way, so you never miss a beat. And you get their 5-star customer service, where if you ever have a question at all, you call them 15 seconds or less, you'll get the answer from Vision Computer. All you got to do is go to 404-COMPUTE or visioncomputers.com. If you call them at 404-COMPUTE, you tell them Eric sent you, you're going to save some money. Y'all, they work with people in all 50 states. So we're up now. We're in Buffalo now, Buffalo, New York. And those of you in Buffalo, I want you to know Vision Computer will work with you. Instead of going to the one-size-fits-all big box store, you call Vision. They ask you what you want, what you need, what your plans are for the computer. They customize the computer to your needs, and you, too, get their 5-star customer service. And they can even remote into your computer. Because you're way up in Buffalo, New York, they can remote in and fix stuff. They have thousands and thousands and thousands of 5-star reviews. And if you tell them Eric sent you, you save even more money. 404-COMPUTE or visioncomputer.com. Give them a call today.
When the truth seems hazy, Eric will clear the way. It's the Eric Erickson Show.
152 in the cool. Ray Carrier Traffic Center watching things clear off to the shoulder and out of all traffic lanes in and around the metro. First spot 85 south of that stall in a center lane at Pleasant Hill Road, exit 104. That's completely gone. Delays picking up quite nicely through the Sewanee area down towards Duluth. Out of the Mall of Stonecrest, all lanes back open, and we got a speed limit right I-20 westbound near Evans Mill Road, exit 74. We're completely off the shoulder through Marietta. Things moving smoothly again. 75 southbound as you approach North Marietta Parkway, but the brake light's still taking you all the way back into Kennesaw. This is sponsored by Echo Park Speedway. Experience the Quaker State 400 available at Walmart Saturday, June 28th. Under the lights in Atlanta, get your tickets now at EchoParkSpeedway.com. Andrew Seco, 95.5 WSB.
You're by the pool.
You're relaxing.
You're sipping a drink.
Someone brings you a towel.
Adjust the umbrella.
Sound like a fantasy?
It's not if you win $1,000 from WSB.
$1,000 Thursdays begins next Thursday.
Listen for the keyword at 9, 10, and 11 a.m. and 12, 1, 2, and 3 p.m.
Enter the keyword at WSBRadio.com or the WSB app within that hour, and you could win $1,000. Get all the info at WSBRadio.com.
$1,000 Thursdays
from 95.5 WSB.
Where Atlanta wins.
The guaranteed offer from Mark Spain Real Estate is the easiest way to sell your home. Now you can save time and make the most money and eliminate all hassles this summer. Hey, Sean Hannity, Mark Spain Real Estate can sell your home with the strongest all-cash offer in the industry and help you move on your timeline. With over 67,000 satisfied clients, you can trust the most experienced real estate team in the U.S. to sell your home fast. Go to markspain.com and start packing.
This is Greg Trzynski of the Original Mattress Factory. People often ask me why our mattresses last so long. The answer is simple. we build them right. Not only are OMF mattresses durable, they give you peace of mind from day one. When you invest in a mattress from OMF, you're investing in better sleep tonight and smart savings for years to come. No more frequent replacements, no more wasted time shopping. To learn more about the true value of durability, visit originalmattress.com and read our latest blog on getting the most from your mattress investment.
This is Monica Pearson for Superior Plumbing. When you have plumbing problems, you need it done quickly and on your schedule. Superior Plumbing will work around your schedule night and day. They've served Atlanta for almost 40 years. They want to be your plumber for life, and they'll earn your trust by doing the work correctly the first time. So do what I did and call Superior Plumbing night or day to have a trusted plumber fix your plumbing issues.
The honest one. Call 770-422-PLUM.
Courage is strength of heart to face challenges. I want to encourage you today for what you're facing. Ultimately, God and His work in and through my life is the only source of strength I've discovered that has been enough to carry me through the tests of building a rewarding marriage, raising 3 children, and even losing a child. Take heart. With God, nothing we're facing is too much to handle. This is Tom Gray, and This Stuff Matters.
ThisStuffMatters.net.
WSB Atlanta, WSBB FM, and HD1 Doraville. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
For many of you, it's happening. Your hair's thinning, your crown's disappearing, and maybe hair loss has you feeling your identity is lost altogether. Well, I got good news. It's Advanced Hair's incredible, yet simple, one-day treatment that starts regrowing your own natural hair the very next day, and it's guaranteed to grow for life. It's Mark Aaron back with you. We've all seen the pills and lotions that come with monthly subscriptions. They help retain what you have, but what about regrowing your hair permanently in specific areas? From Advanced Hair's state-of-the-art facilities to their world-class physicians, it's not maybe your hair will regrow. It's guaranteed that your new hair will grow. You decide how much, how thick, and where. Advanced Hair has changed tens of thousands of lives, and I've seen their results, friends. For your free consultation, $250 off and 250 free hair grafts, call 470-660-HAIR. That's 470-660-HAIR or advancedhair.com.
Your non-stop news source, 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
Greetings and welcome. I keep thinking about how timely taco is. You know, it's Trump always chickens out. And it became a big news story about 2 weeks ago that Trump always chickens out. And it's something that has been picked up by Wall Street when it comes to the tariffs. A lot of Trump supporters insisting, that the tariffs are a good thing. And actually, the tariffs have been scaled back and readjusted so many times. Everyone and exemptions given, people on Wall Street are starting to say, well, I mean, we're going to feel the effects of what we have, but it's so delayed because they've been stopped and started so many times because Trump always chickens out. Taco. Whether you agree with that or not, it's a really timely that it came out now as it goes to the president and Iran, because the president has now given Iran 2 weeks. And what are the odds that Iran really stops this nuclear weapons program? When you bury it 300 feet under the ground, you enrich past civilian use, the odds of Iran suspending its nuclear program and allowing inspectors into Fordo, the under the mountain facility, it's pretty low. So people start needling Trump with taco that he's going to chicken out again. He's held this position for 20 years. They can't get nukes, and now he's cutting a deal that's actually going to let them get nukes. He's a taco. I suspect when the left came up with taco, they did not realize it could be used to incentivize the president staying the course on Iran. And I bet the left is kind of horrified. They came up with the thing that can be used to encourage him to bomb Iran. And yet here we are, Taco Tuesday coming up. I suppose we're going to have as soon as the military gets in position and the Navy gets to the Persian Gulf, we'll probably get a real big decision quick.
WSB is looking for a home for Flapjack. Chris Chandler here from Atlanta's Morning News, and he is our dog of the month this month. With Paws Atlanta, we're looking for Flapjack's new family. Sweet, about 2 years old, playful but not rambunctious, and something unusual too. Our sponsor, Finley Roofing, will pay the adoption fees. Meet Flapjack, WSBradio.com/dog.
Well, I bet it is safe to say you are sick and tired of home services companies that don't show up on time, don't get it right, ghost you then when you need them later. Hey, it's Chris Chandler. I don't have to worry about any of that because I only trust TE Certified Electrical Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. TE Certified is a well-oiled machine with the highest level of communication and follow-up. They're on time, friendly, and fully stocked.
TE Certified, we love your home.
What you walk on in your home should be wonderful.
Hi, I'm Michael, proud founder of Authentic Hardwood Flooring. Your summer vacation is going to be awesome, but coming home to those floors won't be. While you're gone, let our highly trained installers transform your space. Just imagine coming home to beautiful new floors. Our promise is to make your flooring process painless. Our focus is to make it perfect.
Authentic Hardwood Flooring offers high-quality craftsmanship with an exceptional customer experience. AuthenticHardwoodFlooring.com.
News, weather,
traffic. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
At 2 o'clock, I'm Bill Caiaccio with our top local story. A jury awards a multi-million-dollar verdict for a young Metro Atlanta parent whose baby was decapitated during delivery.
Attorneys for Jessica Ross and Travion Taylor Sr. say forensic pathologist Dr. Jackson Gates poured salt in their wounds when he splashed images on his Instagram account of their decapitated baby. A 3-day trial ends with a Fulton County jury awarding $2 million for compensation and another $250,000 to punish Gates. But attorney Corey Lynch says there's no celebration here.
That's their child that was put on display for clicks, likes, and shares and commentary on Instagram, which made no sense.
A lawsuit against the hospital where Travion Jr. was born is still pending. Veronica Waters, 95.5 WSB.
87 degrees in Atlanta. How hot will it get this weekend? Channel 2 Action News Chief Meteorologist Brad Nitz has Atlanta's most accurate and dependable forecast coming up. As the conflict between Israel and Iran intensifies, law enforcement here in the U.S. are on high alert.
As President Trump is contemplating potential U.S. strikes on Iranian nuclear facilities, law enforcement officials have stepped up surveillance of Iran-backed operatives in the United States. Multiple sources told CBS News that FBI Director Kash Patel has increased efforts to monitor possible domestic sleeper cells linked to Hezbollah. Jennifer Jacobs, CBS News, the White House.
Georgia-based insurance giant Aflac confirms it's the victim of a hack. Cyber criminals may have accessed Social Security numbers, insurance claims, and health information of customers, agents, and employees. The company says the intrusion was stopped within hours. It is offering customers free credit monitoring and identity theft protection. In recognition of World Elder Abuse Awareness Day, the U.S. Attorney here in Atlanta is joining a national effort to protect seniors from scams. These schemes cost victims billions of dollars, many times depleting their life savings. Some of the most common schemes involve romance fraud, lottery fraud, tech support fraud, and grandparent scams, which involve scammers impersonating a grandchild or relative asking for money. News about your health now. New advice from some of the nation's top doctors on the best way to prevent heart disease.
Until now, the American College of Cardiology recommended obese patients make lifestyle changes before turning to drugs like Wegovy or Zepbound. Now, the ACC says those drugs should be the first line of defense against heart disease.
Correspondent Michael Wallace reports one doctor calls it a game changer to have in the toolkit. It is now 2:02, and this news is sponsored by Bread Beckers.
Why is Billy wearing a life jacket?
Oh, he's going swimming in the basement.
What?
Time for a new water heater? Call Delta Plumbing, the educated plumber. We recommend going tankless for instant and endless hot water. The educated plumber works with all major brands and offers plenty of financing options.
How fast can you get here?
Water heater replacement at educatedplumber.com. Problem solved.
When markets get rocky, the worst thing you can do is nothing. Hi, I'm David Nicholas, president and founder of Nicholas Wealth Management. Times like these demand action and a plan you can trust. That's why we rely on our trademark retire-ready bucket strategy. This strategy is designed to place a percentage of your portfolio into lower risk, income-producing income bucket, aiming to generate steady cash flow for the first 10 to 15 years of retirement. Meanwhile, your growth bucket is filled with dividend and growth stocks, which has time to recover when markets are going crazy. So call Nicholas Wealth today at 678-990-8500 or visit nicholaswealth.com to schedule a time to sit down with our team to review your plan. This strategy was crafted by experience. It's battle tested, and it's how you aim to keep your retirement on track even when the markets are not. So call Nicholas Wealth today at 678-990-8500 or visit nicholaswealth.com. At Nicholas Wealth Management, we're prepared. Are you? Don't wait for the next headline to shake your confidence. Call Nicholas Wealth today, 678-990-8500 or visit nicholaswealth.com. Nicholas Wealth Management. Retire ready.
Nicholas Wealth Management is an independent financial services firm and uses a variety of different investment strategies. Neither the information nor any opinion expressed is to be construed as solicitation to buy or sell a security or personalized investment, tax, or legal advice.
It's now 2:04 and time for live team coverage of traffic and weather in the 24-hour traffic center on this Friday afternoon. It's Andrew Seco.
Good afternoon, Bill. Nice afternoon in and around the metro. Got lighter than normal volume that Friday. Light in and around Atlanta. We do have a couple impact spots. The ride through Marietta still hasn't recovered fully from earlier trouble with the police activity and crash 75 south at the North Loop, exit 265. That's North Marietta Parkway. Delays still on and off back towards Wade Green Road. You may want to keep using Highway 41 if you're in a hurry through here. Better news towards the Mall of Stonecrest. Their crash is cleared. I-20 westbound at Evans Mill Road, exit number 74. We are seeing some delays leaving 285 towards the Mall of Stonecrest, looking like road work was clearing. I-20 eastbound at Wesley Chapel Road, exit 68. You were jammed all the way towards Panola Road, exit 71. Andrew Seco, 95.5 WSB.
I'm Channel 2 Action News Chief Meteorologist Brad Nitz with Atlanta's most accurate and dependable weather forecast. Headed to 91 and mostly sunny today. We'll stay mostly sunny, hot and dry this weekend. 93 Saturday and Sunday.
And we could get close to the mid-90s some days next week. It's 83 in Marietta right now, 86 in Riverdale, and 88 in Conyers. More news at 2:30. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Bill Caiaccio, 95.5 WSB.
All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
America, welcome. It is Eric Erickson here. The phone number, 877-973-7425. Should you wish to be on the program, I'd be happy to have you. I want to try to navigate an issue on which I got to admit I've gone back and forth on the issue. I'm a little wobbly on this issue, but I at least want to explain to you what is happening. And that is on the issue of the federal sale of land. I got a lot of friends on the right who are very upset at the idea of selling the land. And essentially, what Congress has decided to do is, in order to generate some revenue to offset the cuts they want to make for taxes and stuff, they want to sell federal land. Here's the initial problem. The initial problem is that instead of restraining spending, Congress has decided instead to just sell some land. It's like the crack addict deciding to sell the family jewels to maintain the crack habit, that the drug habit. That's what's going on here, essentially, is that the U.S. government has decided that it wants to maintain its addiction to spending, and so it's going to start selling federal land in order to maintain that. Now, I'm not in of myself opposed to selling federal land. The New York Times has a pretty good story on this, and it's probably not going to make it out of Congress. Senator Mike Lee from Utah, a friend of mine, who leads the Energy Committee, is pushing this and said, essentially taking land off the federal books, selling it for development, actually will benefit the federal government. A fact sheet issued by the committee said that two federal agencies would be selling 1/2 of 1% to 3/4 of 1% of federal land, which amounts to about 438 million acres, and would prioritize land within 5 miles of existing population centers. They would not sell any land that's designated as a wilderness area, a national monument, or a national park. They claim it would increase the availability of land for housing development. In fact, the fact sheet says it would, quote, increase the supply of housing and decrease housing costs for millions of American families. Now, you should know this has been done before. In 1998, the Bureau of Land Management authorized the sale of federal land around Las Vegas. 44,000 acres were sold for homes or development, 50 acres were for affordable housing. Now, that's the punchline here, 50 acres for affordable housing out of 40,000 acres. It has not all been sold, by the way. That happened back in 1998, and it hasn't all been done. The land would also, some federal land, you would see an increase in timber harvests from government-owned forests. That would raise $15 billion through expanded oil, gas, coal, and geothermal leases on federal areas in Alaska and elsewhere. There are leasing provisions already in the House. The legislation would claw back more than $6 billion in unspent federal climate and energy funding approved by Democrats under the Inflation Reduction Act. Okay, I'm not opposed generally to selling federal land. I think the federal government owns a lot of land. Some of it doesn't need. But here's what I am also opposed. What I am opposed to is I'm not opposed to selling the land, but I am opposed to the spin. What the Energy Committee says is that the Bureau of Land Management will prioritize selling land within 5 miles of population centers. But Senator Lee was on Glenn Beck's program and described the land as inaccessible. A lot of it is remote, inaccessible land. And if it's remote, inaccessible land, that's not land that's going to be built on. I mean, this is Glenn Beck's tweet from earlier. Mike Lee isn't proposing the auction of Yellowstone or paving Yosemite. He's talking about 3 million acres, less than half of 1% of federal estate. It's remote, hard to access, and often mismanaged. Now, again, I'm not opposed to getting rid of federal land. In fact, part of what is happening here is it's a swinging back from Barack Obama. If you'll recall, Barack Obama, when he was president, got a lot of land under federal control, canceled a lot of mineral and oil and gas leases, and threw companies off that land. And part of what Mike Lee is trying to do is address what Barack Obama had done, which was to free up land in Utah in particular that the president had unilaterally taken out of commission. And part of it has to do with mineral rights, rare earth minerals. There are out in Utah lots of rare earth minerals. Now, this is from Glenn Beck. The federal government currently owns 640 million acres of land, nearly 28% of all land in the United States. That it amounts to more territory than France, Germany, Poland, and the United Kingdom combined. Most of the land is west of the Mississippi. That's not a coincidence. In the American West, federal ownership isn't a bureaucratic technicality, it's a stranglehold. People living east of the Mississippi in places like Kentucky, Georgia, Pennsylvania may not realize how little land their own states actually control. What Mike Lee wants to do is open land up for developers to buy, to build houses on close to population centers, and to extract rare earth minerals and others from the private sector in a way that the government could not control the land and stop from happening. Okay, those are the facts. Here's where I come down on this. If it were really land within 5 miles of population center, this is very similar to what was done in Las Vegas. As Las Vegas exploded, there was a federal chokehold around Henderson and other parts of the Las Vegas area where there clearly was a need for more developable land, as the population was growing. There clearly was a need to expand, and the land was not only not used by the federal government, it was not anywhere near used. There were lands out near Summerlin, which is to the west of Las Vegas, near the Red Rock Mountains. There was land in the north of Las Vegas, near around Nellis Air Force Base, and there was land around Henderson, out to the southeast of Las Vegas. And it clearly there was demand to develop it. There was actually a real need to spread out from Las Vegas, and the government began to sell that land. It was 40,000 acres that kind of surrounded the city and made a belt around the city. They were able to expand Las Vegas and reduce city congestion and population by doing it. It made sense. The way the law is structured here, they've exempted Montana. They've exempted Montana because one of Montana's congressmen, Ryan Zink, has said he'll vote against the plan if Montana is included. And Steve Daines, the senator from Montana, has said he was opposed to the sale of federal land in Montana. So Montana is exempt. Other states want to be exempt. Nevada is one of those states where the two Nevada Democratic senators don't want to play a part in it, but because they're in the minority, there's going to be land sold from there. Mike Lee wants land in Utah sold. But here's my problem, and it is that while they claim that the land will be within 5 miles of population centers that's going to be prioritized, that's not all the land that's going to be sold. And when you look at the original structure of the law, it actually was to a lot of Republican donors. The land is going to be sold. Now, I'm not opposed to the development. I'm not opposed to selling the land for rare earth minerals and things like that Barack Obama took out of commission. But I just find it notable that a lot of the land to be sold is land that certain Republican donors who've given a lot of money to the Republicans, it's the land that they want sold, which sounds a little more corrupting when you put it that way, doesn't it? Again, I'm not opposed to it, but the mendacity of we're selling within 5 miles of population centers for housing, and then to go around outside of the public talking points and go on conservative talk radio shows and say, actually, the land isn't, it's remote, it's inaccessible, it's hard to get to. That's not land within 5 miles of a population center. I would like some honesty and clarity in the process. Is it remote inaccessible land, or is it land within 5 miles of population centers designed to alleviate housing? If it's land within 5 miles of population centers designed to alleviate the cost for building housing and the like, go for it. If it's remote and inaccessible, go for it. But be honest with me and tell me. If it's a national monument, if it's a wildlife refuge, if it's a designated wildlife area already, and if it is a national park, that land's not going to be sold. That's the language of the legislation. The federal government owns a lot of land, and the idea that they can't give up any of it, it's a problem. I'll tell you a better plan one of my team came up with is, why don't we pay attention to all the land the Chinese have bought and take it back first? Now, that would cost eminent domain. The Chinese, even though they're Chinese, they bought the land in the United States. That actually gives them eminent domain. So if Congress wants to take it back, Congress would have to pay fair market value to retrieve the land that was already purchased. I just kind of think that, given that we're getting multiple stories, that raises a red flag in my mind. I trust Mike Lee. I like Mike Lee. I don't have a problem taking land out of federal hands and giving it to private companies that can actually extract rare earth minerals from it. I think environmentalists have tied up a lot of land, and it's made us more dependent on China. But when I hear members of the Senate and the House say this is for housing development out of one breath, and out of the next breath say this is all inaccessible land out of the next breath, that says to me that there's some level of dishonesty happening in the conversation, and I just want honesty. I want to know what's really going on. If it's land for housing to make housing cheaper, okay. If it's land so that developers can extract natural gas and oil and rare earth minerals without Congress and the president interfering in the future, that's fine too. But don't tell me it's the one and then tell me it's the other. Which one is it? And if it's both, that's fine. I'd like to see the map. Show me where it is. I'm not willing to give the environmentalists a lot of leeway here, though, because the environmentalists will say whatever they can to scare people out of it. I just want transparency in the process. That's it. Just make it transparent. Show us the map. Show us what land you're actually talking about that they would like for sale, and let us see for ourselves what it is. Now, I'm sure that the media will go out there. They'll get some beautiful pictures. They'll say, this is the land. We can't let them do it. Probably we can actually do it with the land. But I'm just real curious in the disconnect between it's for housing and lowering costs of housing within 5 miles of a city center, and also it's remote, inaccessible, hard to get to, and mismanaged. That right there raises red flags in my mind that we need a little more honesty and transparency before we actually know what's going on. And I will tell you this, Ryan Zink, the congressman from Montana, has released a statement in the last little while saying he does not care what the land is or is not, that if this provision remains in the final package, he will vote against the final package. It is his hill to die on, he says, which means we're probably talking about something that's not even going to happen.
Follow Eric on X, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and Rumble. Search EW Erickson.
This is a traffic red alert from 95.5 WSB.
And at 220 in the Cool Ray Carrier Traffic Center, developing scene between Bartow and Cobb County, right there before Highway 92. We're on 75 South. It's actually at Glade Road, exit 278. It's a crash. All lanes being held. Delays all the way back into Emerson. Avoid the area here, folks. Your last shot to merge off seems to be Red Top Mountain Road. From there, you can hit Highway 41 as an alternate. This report sponsored by the Georgia Lottery. Win millions playing Powerball in store or online at glottery.com. So you can finally vacation to that luxurious island, or you could just buy it. Only from the Georgia Lottery. Andrew Seco, 95.5 WSB.
Is your summer vacation going to be a week at the beach or a week in the backyard standing in the kiddie pool?
If you listen to 95.5 WSB, that week at the beach could be yours. It's $1,000 Thursdays on WSB.
Your chance to win $1,000 every hour between 9 a.m. and 4 p.m. on Thursdays.
Listen for the keyword. Enter the keyword at WSBradio.com or on the WSB app within that hour.
Get all the info at WSBradio.com.
$1,000 Thursdays, beginning next Thursday.
95.5 WSB.
Where Atlanta wins.
This is Andy Harris, President of Coosa Valley Credit Union, with a personal invitation for you to join our newest branches in Woodstock, Canton, or Dallas. We've been in business in Northwest Georgia for 70 years, and we're proud to now offer kinder banking to Cobb, Cherokee, and Paulding County, where you'll always speak to a real person. With 11 locations, Coosa Valley Credit Union is always local and nearby. Experience kinder banking and stop in a Coosa Valley Credit Union branch near you.
Tim Andrews here for D. Geller & Son, Atlanta's engagement ring and wedding band destination since 1939. Their hand-picked diamonds just shine brighter at a value that can't be beat. They have an unbelievable selection of engagement rings and wedding bands, from classic to modern to off the wall, because you like what you like. Design your own. And because they've been jewelers for generations, they can bring your dream to life with full custom abilities. Go see Atlanta's most trusted jeweler since 1939. D. Geller & Son in Kennesaw and Sandy Springs, and online at dgeller.com.
At Kroger, we've lowered prices on over 1,000 items across our stores so you can save even more. Whether you're shopping in-store or online at Kroger, we've lowered prices on thousands of the items your family wants and needs. And with lower prices, your dollar goes further every time you shop with us. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Right now, Kroger brand 80% lean ground beef is on sale. 16-ounce packages are only $4.99 each with your card. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate today at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K. Your car can be picked up as soon as the next day. Receive a tax deduction and vacation voucher.
1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your card today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
Hey, it's Belinda for the board-certified plastic surgeons at Marietta Plastic Surgery. I've trusted their team for years. Doctors West, McNeil, Hanna, and Biswas have been serving the Atlanta area for over 25 years with expert surgical and non-surgical care. With warmer weather on the way, are you summer ready? Marietta Plastic Surgery is here to help you look and feel your best. They now offer Awake Liposuction, a less invasive way to sculpt your body with less downtime. And their med spa still has all your go-to treatments like Botox and fillers, microneedling, Diamond Glow, hydrofacials, and Morpheus 8 for radiant, glowing skin. Looking to restore thinning hair or reshape your hairline? Marietta Plastic Surgery is the only practice in the region that offers the gold standard in hair restoration, the Foundation Aesthetic Hair Restoration Method. Visit MariettaPlasticSurgery.com to schedule your consultation today.
A company that has been trusted in Atlanta for over 25 years has already done their hometown homework, like having the very best people, fair, honest pricing, exceptional customer service, and a focus on high-quality work. That's us. Hi, I'm Dan Watkins, owner of All Four Seasons Garage, Entry Doors, and Windows. Sometimes new isn't better, like out-of-town home improvement companies invading Atlanta with their inflated pricing and subpar work. When trust matters, trust us. All the number 4 Seasons Garages.
A big truck ruined your car and your career. Now the trucking company thinks they're going to bully you into a bad offer. Get the strong arm. Attorney John Boy and Associates.
Don't get tricked, twisted, and trapped into a terrible settlement. Call me first. We'll move fast to get you the most money possible as quickly as possible. And it costs you nothing to get started today. That's the strong arm.
Get real. Get the strong arm. Call attorney John Boy and Associates now.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
But he tells you what you need to hear. It's the Eric Erickson Show.
Hello, it's Eric Erickson here across the United States of America. It's Open Line Friday, 877-973-7425. Waiting in Claremont, Florida is Linda. Welcome to the show, Linda. How are you?
I'm doing well. I got a suggestion. This is in reference to congressmen and senators who complain about ICE agents wearing masks and advocate for doxing them and maybe even do dox them. If those senators and congressmen have security clearances, those security clearances need to go away because they're being irresponsible, and it's a legitimate question. If they're responsible about demasking people who might get killed as a result, what else are they irresponsible about?
It's not a bad idea. Nadler can have his security clearance revoked. Linda, thank you for that. Listen, the Democrats, they're playing with fire. They're in this bubble, and look, we all know it. But every once in a while, you just see it, and you become even more mindful of this hive mind of the media and the left and how it actually works to our advantage on the right because they've become so unhinged and insane, and they don't even realize how unhinged and insane they've become. They're perfectly fine with pro-Hamas demonstrators in the streets of the United States masking and beating up Jews. But ICE agents who have increased 500% increase in violence against ICE agents, covering their faces. You can see them, their badges and all. You can see the labels. You can see they're legit. They just don't want their face shown. And the Democrats are upset about it. It's just wild. And I think most Americans understand how insane that proposition is. And they're like, we don't have a secret police. This isn't a secret police. We can all see the agents. We just can't see their faces. But they identify themselves to the people who are being detained. This isn't hard. It's only hard for the left because they really, really, really do not like law enforcement on the left. And they're trying to get them killed. Y'all, a great pro-law enforcement group out there is Old Glory Bank. They love law enforcement. They have great deals. If you're a first responder, you're a veteran, you're in law enforcement, you should bank with Old Glory Bank. They are great, and they'll take care of you. OldGloryBank.com/Eric. You can go sign up online with Old Glory Bank. That's how I did it. 2 years ago, I started banking with Old Glory Bank. I've never looked back. They are fantastic. You can do direct deposit with them. You can do home loans with them, car loans with them. You can do CDs, do savings accounts. You do no-fee checking, no-fee savings. There's a lot happening with Old Glory Bank, and they would love to have you. OldGloryBank.com. OldGloryBank.com. Member FDIC, equal housing lender. Terms and conditions apply. You go to OldGloryBank.com/Eric. They know that I sent you. I get the credit for sending you, and you should. Businesses, they got great business accounts. They've got great business checking and savings accounts. They've got great opportunities to work with businesses. They're growing their business, and they would love to do business with you. If you're a conservative, you never have to worry about debanking. OldGloryBank.com/Eric, member FDIC, equal housing lender. Breaking news, massive earthquake just hit Iran. We're trying to figure out if this was a bomb or a real earthquake.
For many women in our community, support for our physical and mental health feels out of reach.
When your workday is long.
And your budget is tight.
And your village is busy.
And the road between home and help is a 6-lane highway with no crosswalk.
Northside Hospital believes women deserve better.
Northside is rolling up our sleeves and getting to work.
We got your house call.
Heard.
Learn more at northside.com/heard.
Live from the Superior Plumbing Studios.
News,
weather,
traffic.
95.5 WSB.
Atlanta's News and Talk.
At 2:30, I'm Bill Caiaccio with our top local story. It is breaking traffic trouble right now on I-75 in Bartow County. WSB's Andrew Seco is live in the traffic center with the latest.
And it's right where Bartow meets Cobb County, right there before you hit Highway 92. A couple exits back. All lanes being held right now with a crash. 75 south approaching Glade Road, exit 278. The brake lights all the way back into Emerson. Your last shot to merge off Red Top Mountain Road. From there, you can hit Highway 41 as an alternate, Bill.
And right now, it's 87 degrees in Atlanta. How hot will it get this weekend? Channel 2 Action News Chief Meteorologist Brad Nitz has Atlanta's most accurate and dependable forecast coming up. A Georgia-based insurance giant is hacked.
It's happened again, another cyber attack. This time, the victim was Aflac, the supplemental health insurance company, which says it quickly discovered the breach. It was not affected by ransomware, but it has not yet determined how many of its clients, if any, were impacted and what may have been stolen. It continues to do business as usual.
Bloomberg's Tom Busby reports the company is offering customers free credit monitoring and identity theft protection. Around 16 billion passwords may be compromised after one of the largest data breaches in history. Logins to social media, VPNs, and user accounts for companies like Apple and Google have been left exposed. A couple whose baby was decapitated during delivery is awarded over $2 million in damages by a Fulton County jury. Jessica Ross and Trevion Taylor sued Dr. Jackson Gates, who they hired to perform a private autopsy after the child died in July of 2023. It is now 2:32, and this news is sponsored by FGA Roofing.
This is Scott Slade, and nothing takes the place of time when it comes to spotting problems with your health, especially cancer. The earlier, the better. That's where virtual imaging comes in. Virtual Imaging's LDCT body scan can be invaluable, giving you more time for you and your loved ones to take charge of your health. They can detect tumors as early as precancerous virtually anywhere in your body, and aneurysms you may not even know are there. Due to overwhelming demand for a limited time, their $995 core body scan offer has been extended. It's a $2,495 value. Early detection saves lives, and now it's more affordable than ever. Virtual Imaging has gotten such great response to this offer that they've opened up more times in both offices, but appointments will fill up fast, so don't wait. Some minimum requirements may apply. Early detection is your best protection. To schedule your virtual imaging $995 core body scan, call 770-678-SCAN. That's 770-678-SCAN. Or make an appointment by visiting their website at virtualimagingatl.com.
I'm consumer investigator Dale Cardwell.
And I'm Monica Pearson. Dale and I have worked together for years, first at WSB, and today helping you find Georgia's best companies and sharing why they're the best.
Monica, one of the first companies I researched and recommended is Amco Transmissions and Total Car Care. For more than a dozen years, they've consistently met my 7-point standard and honored my Make It Right guarantee. And I know you believe in Amco just as much as I do.
Dale, over the years, we've both reported about people getting taken advantage of. So I'm keenly aware what it takes to deliver not just great performance, but great customer service. People who follow my advice literally stop me on the street and thank me for referring them to AMCO.
We all need mechanics we can trust for correct diagnosis, efficient repair, and fair price. Not just for transmission repair, but engines, brakes, check engine lights, and so much more. Call the locally owned AMCO near you.
And I know their nationwide warranty protects you everywhere.
That's AA
MCO.
If you've ever organized your closet only to have it look like a bomb went off in there 1 month later, then it's time to call Artisan Custom Closets. Dave Baker here with a custom spacious closet from Artisan. You'll never have to deal with all that clutter again. ArtisanCustomClosets.com.
At 2:34, Andrew Seco is in the traffic center.
Looks like they've opened at least one lane through Emerson into Allatoona and Acworth. 75 southbound getting by just a little bit by Glade Road, exit 278, but you'll still need to use Highway 41 with the intense delays in the area. North and south of the downtown connector, seeing the volume from East Point through the heart of downtown all the way up past Midtown, slow on 85 proper. Heading onto the downtown connector and a little stoppage towards the Mall of Stonecrest, I-20 east and westbound. Brake lights either direction from 285 down towards Evans Mill Road, exit 74. Andrew Seco, 95.5 WSB.
I'm Channel 2 Action News Chief Meteorologist Brad Nitz. 91 today, 93 Saturday and Sunday with a mostly sunny sky. We'll be in the mid-90s early next week.
And no threat of rain out there today. Storm tracker radar all clear. It's 82 in Woodstock, 87 in Fairburn, 88 in Duluth. More news at 3 o'clock. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Bill Caiaccio, 95.5 WSB.
Politics, culture, and faith. It's the Eric Erickson Show.
Welcome back. There is breaking news. A major 5.2 on the Richter scale earthquake has just struck northern Iran. It is, if you're familiar with the geography of the region, just so you understand, it is south of the Caspian Sea, south of Sari in Iran, and it's out in the middle of nowhere. And so the question is it actually an earthquake? Is it a test of a weapon system? Is it an Israeli missile or a bunker buster happening? We just don't really know yet what's happening, but we are trying to figure this out. Something is going on now in Iran. There have been more missiles fired. Now, I want to point out one act of major bias here. Remember when the media falsely claimed when Israel had struck a hospital in Gaza, and the headline was Israel struck a hospital in Gaza. When the video surveillance came out, it turned out that Hamas was using the parking lot to launch rockets at Israel, and one of them exploded. That's what it was. It was not Israel. It was Hamas, and there's video to prove it. And yesterday, Iran struck an Iranian hospital. The Associated Press, which had run full-throated with story about Israel hitting a hospital, actually referred to Iran hitting a medical facility. Not a hospital, but a medical facility. That was how the Associated Press ran with it. The level of anti-Israeli bias in the media. You've also got the Washington Post reporter that's putting the latitude and longitude of bomb strikes in his tweets, which is irrelevant to anyone except the Iranians who are trying to more precisely target their weapon systems. And he undoubtedly knows it because Israel has cautioned against doing that. And yet, here we go. Now, Israel has continued to strike Iranian air defense and missiles. The strikes have helped Israel achieve air superiority. Israel has continued to strike the Iranian internal security apparatus. Iran has fired small waves of one-way attacks and drones. The latest wave of drone attacks from Iran, all of them were destroyed before they made it into Israeli territory. So it's kind of impressive what Israel is able to pull off there. The Americans are certainly helping discreetly with defensive positions, and now we've got this situation with a possible earthquake or weapons test in northern Iran. Everybody's trying to figure out what exactly is going on. We'll get some resolution one way or the other on it. I want to go to Reese, calling from Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Freedom 96.9 out there. Welcome, Reese, to the show. How are you?
I'm well. Yourself?
Great.
So the reason I called was I have some familiarity quite a bit with Utah. I'm a native from out there. I was quite involved with the Republican Party out there while the last few years I lived there. I suspect you posited that, you were asking about what the reasons were for the bill that Senator Lee is proposing. And there's kind of two reasons. I kind of want to talk some background for those two.
Okay.
So in Utah, the majority of the population of the state, like 80-90%, live in a narrow strip of land called the Wasatch Front. It's kind of like the Front Range in Colorado. It runs north-south, and it's on the west-facing side of the Rocky Mountains there. When the pioneers went out to Utah, and then they were applying for statehood in the 1880s, 1890s, the federal government, as part of their becoming a state, required that almost every bit of property that didn't have a farm or a person or a house sitting on it become federal property. That wasn't the case for all the states that came into the nation before Utah. That set a new precedent. And then they followed that with Nevada and I think Montana and Wyoming as they came into the state. Oklahoma was a little bit different situation because of the land rush and the tribal issues. But in Utah, if there's not a city on it, it's probably federal property. And right now they're on the Wasatch Front. They're bounded on one side with federal property. They're bounded on the other side with federal property. And housing prices have just gone up astronomically, around 100% since COVID started. And it's a supply and demand, classic economics thing. So there's a limited supply of property. So property is just going up a lot. So that's for the people of Utah, for Mike Lee's constituents who are voting for him. That's a big part of the issue. Now, I'm going to real quick talk the other part of it. Then, okay, I was involved with a company that had some mineral rights. We were trying to develop it there in what's called the Uinta Basin, northeast Utah. And the problem you have here, it's kind of like presidential directives. Okay, the next president can erase them. Mm-hmm. Well, the BLM is highly politicized. And to get a drilling permit or a mining permit, the BLM can completely shut it down. If they have this BLM property that is owned by the BLM that's out in Utah, where they would be doing rare earth minerals, it's where there's the uranium mines historically. But if that became public property, then the permitting's between the property and the state of Utah, especially on oil and gas, instead of the property and the feds. And the permitting process, when you're dealing with the state, especially in a conservative state like Alaska or Utah or Wyoming, is so much less expensive and so much faster. And so both of them have benefits to different people. I'm not necessarily thinking, I don't know where I stand on if I really want to support it or not, but I understand those are kind of the issues that are probably running around in the background.
Well, look, I appreciate you bringing some clarity to that because, yeah, I do understand that Obama took a lot of land off, put it into the public trust, and it was all because it was environmentalists who wanted him to do it because they didn't want people accessing rare earth minerals and the like, and it's just making us dependent on China. I would like some clarity, and it's the changing stories between this is inaccessible land and this is land for property development that bothers me. I need to jump back into the story. A friend of mine just texted me and said that the area that was the earthquake was closer to Semnan, Iran, and that's relevant because that is the home to the Iranian missile complex headquarters. That is, it appears based on where the earthquake is centered, it is right around that missile complex, and so it could actually be explosions that is triggering the Richter scale monitors, the seismographs, and not actually an earthquake. We don't know. Based on the projected depth of where the earthquake was, it would be at the surface level. It would not actually be deep underground. So very interesting what's happening in Iran. Keeping our eye on this. It's kind of this is fast moving. We know for certain that seismographs have triggered or detected an earthquake, 5.2 on the Richter scale, but they're saying it's less than 15 feet underground. So that's not a nuclear weapons test. and it's in an area where they are actually have a massive amount of missiles, so it very well could be that Israel has just struck a weapons depot facility. We don't know yet. That's speculation on my part. We just know that the trigger's gone off. By the way, Europeans are announcing that the Iranians have said no deals, no negotiations, not until Israel stops bombing. Israel says it's not going to stop bombing until they get some sort of resolution on the matter with the weapons development. So as a result, I'm thinking that maybe the president is going to actually let Israel drop a bomb. We do know from observations, eyeball observations and eyewitnesses, that B-2 bombers have left the United States on their way to somewhere. They were not tracked, but they were detected taking off. So we don't exactly know what exactly is happening right now, but something is happening as we're rounding out the show today in Iran with this earthquake that doesn't appear to be an earthquake. The president of the United States is saying he's going to give Iran up to 2 weeks to be able to make their decision. And wow. So a parody account, the U.S. Ministry of Truth has just tweeted out that what actually happened with that earthquake is that President Trump just dropped Lizzo on the Ayatollah. Wow. The jokes do write themselves, folks. The jokes do write themselves. All right. Hang on a second. This just happened. This is the British Foreign Secretary speaking in Geneva, where the Iranians have just walked out of talks with European leaders.
As you know, yesterday I was in the White House with Secretary of State Rubio and the President's Special Envoy Steve Witkoff discussing what is happening in Israel and Iran. And it was important to fly here today to be with European colleagues, sat down with the Iranians over several hours, discussing our absolute firmness that Iran cannot have nuclear capability that would endanger the immediate Middle East, but also the global community. We had constructive discussions today, and we will continue as Europe to speak to Iran and to be clear on these issues, as we have done over many years. We urge the Iranians to get back into discussions with the United States. We will do all we can to facilitate those discussions, but to understand the immediacy of this moment, the seriousness of the intent, I think, of the United States, its partners and global allies at this time, and our determination to see a diplomatic off-ramp and de-escalation to this problem.
I assumed that the Americans have given a very clear outline of what their terms are. What ultimately is the ultimatum for Iran here? I think that our colleagues, friends and allies in the United States have made it clear that there is a window, it is a short window, to find a diplomatic solution for the Iranians to dismantle and to be in discussion with the United States and with us here in Europe about how we can end their nuclear program and our concerns about their nuclear program. But I think that they recognize that there are many in the system that one way or another are intent on seeing this come to an end. We're urging diplomacy. It's important they get back into serious talks with the United States. The Americans have said that zero uranium enrichment. If you could clarify if that is correct for us, that's our understanding, and also what happens if the Iranians do not commit to that within the time frame? Well, we were very clear that zero enrichment is, of course, where we are. And of course there can be discussions about the energy needs of Iran and how the international community can be reassured about the energy needs of Iran going.
That's the British Foreign Minister, British Foreign Secretary David Lammy. He was with Marco Rubio and the president yesterday. He is in Geneva today. The Iranians have walked out of the conversations, saying they do not intend to cooperate with the European powers unless Israel stops bombing them. Israel says it's not going to stop until Iran agrees to give up its nuclear armaments. And for those who say, how do we know they're trying to get a bomb? You do not bury a civilian nuclear program 300 feet under a mountain and enrich uranium beyond civilian needs unless you want a nuclear weapon. Now, we don't have to dance around this. That's just a fact. Americans for Prosperity advances common sense conservative solutions, and they would love to get you involved at protectprosperity.com. Americans for Prosperity is trying to help the president get his tax plan through Congress, and they're trying to rally conservatives around the nation to call their senators and say they're for common sense conservative solutions, including on the taxes. You go to protectprosperity.com. You can click buttons to put in your information, and your phone will ring and connect you to a member of Congress and to your senators, where you can tell them what you think about the common sense conservative plans floating up there when it comes to the president's tax plan. They want you to get engaged. They want you to be able to educate your neighbors, educate your friends and family on the state of play in Washington, stay more informed than everybody else, and know what's actually going on in the Senate as this thing makes this winding path through Senate committees to get to the floor for a vote. You go to protectprosperity.com. It's brought to you by Americans for Prosperity. They're the largest leading grassroots group in the country. They're on the right. They advance common sense conservative solutions for families, for individuals, for small businesses. They'd love to get you involved. Protectprosperity.com is the website. Sign up with them today.
You're at the intersection of politics, news, culture, and current events. It's the Erick Erickson Show.
250 in the Cool Ray Carrier Traffic Center, moving right along, already looking in a lot better shape through Alatoona into Ackworth as you cross that Bartow Cobb County line. The crash is cleared, all lanes back open. 75 southbound at Glade Road, exit 278. Brake lights still taking you back into Cartersville, and northbound have some onlooker delays stretching into Kennesaw. So keep using Highway 41 until we're in a little bit better shape. This sports sponsored by Whole Foods Market. Save at Whole Foods Market. Get 20% off no antibiotics ever, 80% lean ground beef with Prime through June 24th. While supplies last, shop in store or online, terms apply. Andrew Seco, 95.5 WSB.
When news breaks,
Israel strikes Iran's nuclear sites and military leaders while Iran counters with drones.
We've got it covered.
The president encourages Iran to, quote, make a deal before there is nothing left and save what was once known as the Iranian Empire.
Tune in often for the latest.
If there are any of these groups in the United States, I can pretty much guarantee you they've been infiltrated by the FBI.
95.5 WSB.
Atlanta's breaking news station.
I'm here with Chris Hoffman, the founder of Hoffman Financial Group and host of Money Unleashed. Chris, every week on the show, we offer folks something we call the Portfolio X-Ray. I was hoping you could walk us through that process and tell us why the information it uncovers is so powerful.
Yeah, so the reason we love doing the Portfolio X-Ray for you is we do that behind the scenes. Everybody's extremely busy. Nobody wants to waste time in traffic. If you call in, we will ask you for some information via the phone. Once you've given us that information, we go to work and we put all the hours in developing the report. And I commit this to you. The Portfolio X-Ray is eye-opening. At least 90+% of the time, we can find 2 or 3 golden nuggets in there that you were not aware of that we can either change in your current portfolio mix for you. It's called a 401k optimizer. Or if we manage the assets for you, we certainly can recommend how to diversify away from some of the troubling points that are exposed during the Portfolio X-Ray. Once we've got that, then we'll have you in for your initial consultation. We will present the Portfolio X-Ray to you and walk you through the high points of it. And that's a document that you get to take with you. It's like getting a financial physical. Mm-hmm. So how many of you avoided going to the doctor for the annual physical last year? You do the same thing with your financial life. You ignore it. You keep pumping money into your 401k. You hope that it's going well, and I can tell you that hope is not a good investment or financial planning strategy. You need to know. So if you want to know, Call us.
The Portfolio X-ray is complimentary. Give Hoffman Financial Group a call to schedule yours today. 404-737-3858, 404-737-3858, or online at unleashyourmoney.com. Investment advisory services offered through Brookstone Wealth Advisors, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Hoffman Financial Group Incorporated, Georgia Insurance License number 163546.
WSB Atlanta, WSB FM, and HD1 Doraville. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's news and talk.
If you're living with diabetes and using insulin, you know the pain of pricking your fingers over and over again. By wearing a small remote device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you can reduce the pain of pricking your fingers right away. If you're testing your blood sugar 4 or more times per day, injecting insulin 3 or more times per day, or using an insulin pump, call the Diabetic Health Hotline today and learn about the latest CGM technology. A CGM can immediately reduce pain. It's accurate, easy to use, and helps you make better diabetes treatment decisions. And if you have Medicare, you can get a new CGM at little or no out-of-pocket cost. Plus, get free shipping, and we'll bill your insurance company for you. Call now to receive your new continuous glucose monitor at little or no out-of-pocket cost.
Paid for by U.S. Medical Supply.
Call 800-611-6638. That's 800-611-6638. Again, 800-611-6638. That's 800-611-6638.
All the news, weather, and traffic you need. 95.5 WSB.
Well, there is some breaking news here as we head out for the weekend. The Supreme Court has said it will not fast-track the challenge to President Trump's tariffs. There was a request for an expedited appeal from 2 toy companies over the president's tariff issue. Learning Resources and Hand to Mind requested expedited hearing after the Federal Court of Appeals in D.C., or Federal Circuit Court, put a pause on the lower court's tariff ruling. The Supreme Court says that it's going to take its time and it is not going to rush the consideration of the tariffs. So the tariffs will remain, having been allowed by the Federal Court of Appeals to go into effect. They will stay in effect, and the Supreme Court will hear them in the next session. They're not going to do a rapid consideration or a bypass of the appellate process. So there you have it. This breaking news happening right now. The Supreme Court says it's not going to expedite a hearing of the president's tariffs. While this is happening, the Europeans say Iran has walked out of a diplomatic negotiations in Geneva over its weapons and nuclear program. Iran says it will not give up its nuclear program at all. The Europeans had urged it to do so, claiming the Europeans would help it, and Iran says no. This may strengthen the president's or resolve the president's situation, where the president has said he wanted to give Iran 2 weeks to make up their mind on whether or not they would come back to the table and negotiate. They decided they did not want to, so there's another situation. Lastly, I got to tell you this story. So let me set the parameters for you. Progressive activists in Los Angeles have been harassing the Dodgers over the last couple of weeks for not taking a strident stand against ICE and the immigration and detention rates. They've been attacked by progressive activists. So yesterday, the Dodgers announced that ICE agents had requested access to the Dodger Stadium parking lot, and the Dodgers wanted everyone to know that they had denied ICE access to their facilities. Immigration and Customs Enforcement on social media replied to the Dodgers' claim and said, that wasn't us. We're not there. Well, leave it to Bill Malugin to explain the situation. It actually was not ICE agents present. There were Customs and Border Patrol agents who had engaged in the area, but it wasn't actually ICE. The Dodgers, of course, they're trying to tamp down progressive sentiment against them and the attacks on the Dodgers, trying to overplay what actually happened, and it just simply wasn't true. Bill Malugin explained on Fox News that it wasn't true, and well, called out the Dodgers for
officers
the BS.
are just showing up. We don't even know what type of officers they are. They're masked, as you saw. They don't present their ID. It said Border Patrol. Are they Border Patrol? Are they ICE?
That's Karen Bass.
Our police.
To identify the different federal agencies. Everybody sees any sort of police officer and they immediately think it's ICE. It was Border Patrol out there. You can see it clear as day. Bright gold lettering.
Yeah, Border Patrol. The Dodgers were confused.
If it's happening on the streets of Atlanta.
After suspect refuses to exit home on Summer Chase Drive.
If it's happening on the roads leading to Atlanta.
Looks to be a tanker truck crashed into the median on the Jam Cam.
95.5 WSB has you covered.
The major culprits squeezing household budgets for auto insurance, gasoline, and utilities.
Your 24/7 news source. Tune in throughout the day to stay up to date.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's breaking news station. WSB consumer expert Clark Howard.
I gotta admit, I had no idea what Joann Fabrics